Great day today. Now, Amy Marks scores Chris Granji on KMOX.
Let's take it from the top.
What's up, guys and gals? It
That's
is
right,
the,
guys
do I
and gals. We're for everybody.
Can we be sued for using that?
Guys and gals? Oh my gosh, you're right.
Drew over there, Drew Young, who works for Ted Drew's.
Yeah. Ted Drew's.
No relation.
More like Ted Sue's.
Oh my God.
Welcome
This is
back.
what I came back to.
It took 4 seconds.
Hey,
Hey!
leave us a message today on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. There's a button that says send a message, and you can do that. We'll listen to it probably. Also, 314-436-7900, our telephone number. Call and text that number. We are, as I mentioned, streaming live on the Odyssey app. Our podcasts are there too. So if you miss anything, you can go back and catch it. You can hit the rewind button too. If you miss something, you can do that. We want you to. And of course, we are on all those social medias like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Oh God, we're all going to die. A winter storm is coming.
Snowmageddon?
I don't think so.
I don't
Maybe
think there is.
we will check in with AccuWeather to see just what to expect the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly right. And Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is suing Starbucks over race-based hiring and DEI initiatives.
And today, Amy, is the first full workout for Cardinals pitchers and catchers in Jupiter, Florida. That is today.
And apparently
Today is basically the start of spring training.
it's the start of spring training. And also, I've been hearing the spring training report from Matt Pauley, and I guess a lot of position players either got there early, have been doing workouts that they may be facing pitchers.
and also, Amy,
Yeah.
all of them best shape of their lives.
That's
Every
incredible.
single player is currently in the best shape of his life.
We should ask them what they all did during the off season to be in the best shape of their life.
I mean, just
Bowflex.
You just really bared down, did a whole bunch of work. I mean, what else would you do? You know?
Well, okay.
It is my favorite spring training cliche that I am in the best shape of my life.
Okay.
Everybody's in the best shape
I
of their
feel
life.
stupid saying this. I don't think they say that in hockey. You know, they usually just say, yeah, I'm great. I'm 100%. But
Well, the off season's 5 minutes. Nothing changes in 5 minutes.
Nothing changes in 5 minutes. Is that a big cliche in baseball? They're in the best shape of their life?
Yes.
But what about when you know it's not true because they're 39 years old?
Or there's some like fill in the blank amount of time that they haven't felt as good as since then.
Oh, see,
I haven't felt this good in 5 years.
I bet that's what you have to go to. If you're like an Adam Wainwright, right, or a player who plays into advanced old age,
Dude.
you have to revert back to I haven't felt this good since.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that could be true. Maybe you've had aches and pains for 4 years or 3 years, and you kind of got rid of those. Maybe you just started taking more drugs, legal ones, right? Who knows? But that's probably what you could say.
I just want one player one time who's not injured.
Mhm.
I don't mean somebody who's going through rehab and they're, bringing their knee back.
Mhm.
I want somebody to say, I just don't feel that good. I feel tired. I'm tired. I don't want to be here. I'm not feeling baseball. But
I feel like sometimes you see that played out on the field.
Sometimes
you see that out. You see it manifested.
Unfairly to players, it looks that way when they're not hitting. When a team doesn't hit and there's no action, it seems like they don't care. Yeah.
I don't feel that way with hitting because I feel like you swing and miss most of the time in baseball. It's how are you fielding? How are you running the bases? I feel like the body language in those moments is very revealing.
A little different than, say, the Travis Kelce body language during the Super Bowl when they were getting smoked and he just sort of gave up on a few plays. And it's pretty obvious when you go back and look at it. He's just sort of milling around. Not a good look.
Good. That is not a good look. That's not great. Hey, since we are talking a little baseball, I know we're going to get to football as well, but baseball, I mean, the Cardinals are king in St. Louis. And so with Bregman not moving yet, And I know we've been talking about Nolan Arenado is definitely
Yeah.
not moving till Bregman does. But we talked to Bernie Miklasz yesterday, and he was saying even if Bregman moves, if he goes to the Red Sox, Arenado might not get moved. How much does it change the Cardinals' approach or set them back on their transition season if you've still got Arenado?
Well, probably not a ton, but it seems like the best case scenario for them would not be good for the Cardinals, actually. But in terms of trying to move Arenado,
Mhm.
it looks like, and I could be totally wrong about this, but it looks like the best case would be that the Cubs end up signing Bregman. So he doesn't go to Boston, and
Mhm.
Boston still has some interest in Arenado, and they can make that deal. Now, that's great and everything, except now Alex Bregman is in the National League Central.
Yeah.
So then you'd have some trouble there. But also, I don't think let's be honest. I don't know that we're going into the Cardinals season considering them the favorite, right?
No.
They're just not. They're
Yeah.
not going to be the favorite. They've been pretty clear going back to last year that this is a transitional period for them. So I don't think they have the expectations, but it's still, unless you just like the idea of getting to see Alex Bregman play the Cardinals a bunch of times, it's not the best thing for them if he ends up in Chicago. However, it might help move along the Arenado thing.
So we also had the conversation about is it awkward right now at spring training with Nolan Arenado showing up? I think he's not there yet, or is he there?
I don't know if he's there yet,
I
but
don't think he's there yet.
position players report next week.
Okay.
Or this weekend, I think.
So Arenado, as of yesterday, not there yet. And Bernie Miklasz said there is an awkwardness factor now. Now, I remember a few months ago, when we asked, will it be awkward if Arenado's still on the Cardinals? The consensus was no. Like, this is baseball. This happens. Was it after the failed Houston Astros trade that it flipped to where it would be awkward now with the Cardinals? When did it flip? Because I know at first it was not necessarily awkward. It's just, this is business.
I think even though it's business, that there still has to be a little bit as a player, just that uncertainty of not knowing if that's going to be your workplace, even in a few days, right? Even if you do report to camp and you're there, knowing that it's possible before the end of the week or the end of the month, you might be with a different team. Yeah, you understand it is a business, but there is also part of you that doesn't like everything being in flux.
Yeah.
They're human. They're well compensated people, but still, you kind of like to have an idea of what your future is going to be.
Yeah. Quickly, too, before we move on from baseball, speaking of being well compensated or maybe not well compensated, did you hear about the White Sox ballpark pass? You get tickets to every single home game in March, April, and May. So that's 27 home games, I believe. Yep.
Yeah.
27 home games for $125.
So it's a great deal, except it's the White Sox. So
that's a pretty good deal.
I've got a friend of mine that I've had since college who is a huge White Sox fan. Also used to work with our guy Kevin Wheeler years ago. So we have this connection, the three of us. And so we're on this DM thread together on Twitter. And every time some stupid Sox thing happens, our buddy Dave will message us. And he messaged us the thing about the $125. And I said they should pay you $125 to watch those games.
I mean, you're not terribly wrong. You're not wrong.
They're not going to be worst team in baseball bad this year, probably. That would be really hard to do. It'd be hard to beat that record again.
Yeah.
But they're still not going to be good to watch.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, though, I think, look, as I said, we're not picking them to win the division, but it is still possible that everything falls right for them this year, and they're at least competitive, and you never know. The National League Central is just not a great division. There are teams that have potential to be pretty good, like Milwaukee is almost every year. The Cubs have that potential, too. Maybe the Reds are a little bit better as well, but it's just overall not the strongest division.
Yeah.
So that's why the door is always cracked a little bit for the Cardinals.
Also, we're keeping our eye out the window of Studio B, trying to assess when the Snowmageddon will hit downtown St. Louis. I know it's moving slowly. So I know they weren't expecting now the snow to hit until later this morning. We will be talking to an AccuWeather meteorologist in just a few minutes. Connor Kerrigan, the director of communications for Mayor Tashara Jones, joined us yesterday. and talked about some of the lessons that they learned from last time. Obviously, residential streets will not be plowed because they don't have the smaller trucks. We did have a texter. I asked our listeners to text in with questions that they would have specifically for the mayor. Interesting one. A texter asked about the bus stops. Will the bus stops be plowed? And Connor Kerrigan said he didn't know. He said that was a good question. He didn't know. I was a little surprised because I do feel that's
kind
one
of a
way
big
deal for people to get to work.
Yeah, there are some people that's how they get to work. They don't have another way.
They don't have another way.
Right.
And so I was a little surprised. He said, well, Bi-State operates the buses. But to me, that would be, I would have hoped, a lesson that you would have learned already. I'm kind of surprised that wasn't addressed. He did say, and we can keep an eye on this because there's a school in our building. He did say the schools would be better plowed this time because people could not get to school last time. A lot of people, either their cars were, couldn't, like I said, Metro High School, cars were just getting stuck 3 weeks after the snowstorm. So I do believe, hopefully, they're going to address the schools, but we'll keep an eye on it. And maybe, we can keep an eye on the bus stops as well for people who need that service.
As Amy mentioned, we will check in with AccuWeather after the 10:30 news, get a real handle on what's happening. Also, maybe they can give us some, I don't know, maybe a future idea of how we've got a lot of outdoor events that are coming up. Mardi Gras is coming up, St. Patrick's Day, opening day. All of that is not too far away from now. So we will see if we can get some kind of idea of what to expect over the next several weeks. And today, with the snowstorm apparently on the way, we're going to keep you updated. Our Attorney General here in the state of Missouri has filed another lawsuit. Seems like with national interests, but we will talk that over when we come back. It's Amy and Chris on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinal spring training as the Redbirds get ready for a new season.
Here, Matt's reports from Redbird Camp, mornings and afternoons, and on Sports Open Line, on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury Firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Lance Drury Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120, and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LANE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LANE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LANE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Paid for by government. Throughout the history of America's Silver Eagle coin series, there's never been a Mint State coin struck with a special Privy Mark. Until now. That's right. The world's most popular silver bullion coin has just been struck with a special star Privy Mark. Silver Eagles are the best-selling silver coin since first being introduced by the U.S. Mint in 1986. This is an amazing and historic event, but you must hurry. A strict limited edition mintage has been set, and once they are gone, they are gone. These first ever Silver Eagles are brand new legal tender coins, minted in 99.9% pure silver by the Philadelphia Mint. For a limited time radio offer, save $5 off every coin. Just call 1-800-473-3993 to secure the first ever star Privy Marked Mint State Silver Eagle coin. Plus receive free shipping, but you must call now. Call 1-800-473-3993 now to secure this first ever Silver Eagle. That's 1-800-473-3993.
Stay informed. Stay entertained. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
I mentioned the first full squad workout for the Cardinals is Monday. So pitchers and catchers, they're working out today. First day in spring training in Jupiter, Florida. As we have snow on the way in St. Louis. See, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
When there is snow on the way locally, but you know that very same day the Cardinals are getting ready for baseball. In a different state. I love that. I think it's great. So yeah, the full team will work out for the first time on Monday.
It is happy pitchers and catchers report day.
Well, they reported yesterday.
Oh, sorry.
Workout
day. Excuse me. Workout day.
So they're on the field throwing in stuff.
In Jupiter.
I know.
I bet it's like 84 degrees.
Hey, before we get to the thing, you want to take a quick call?
Love to.
Kevin is in Crestwood on KMOX. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you.
Staying warm. The roads are not bad yet. I'm telling you that. I'm out here.
Good.
Hey, so I have the greatest, when you're talking about the White Sox, they know what they're doing. The parents need to take advantage of this for the young kids. I got an 8 and 10-year-old. Of course, I love taking them to the Cardinals games, but my kids are obsessed with all the other players. So I'm thinking that the kids are going to want to go see, all the other teams practice, maybe go see Cleveland or Kansas City, it's a great opportunity for the parents and the kids to go hang out and see some of these other teams.
Oh, you're talking about the $125 deal.
Yeah. So even if you don't like the White Sox, go see some of the stars. Go see Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
See, there you go.
That's actually a really
Kevin.
good point of view.
See? That's a great point. They could see some of the best players in the game. None of them will be in white uniforms, but
none of them will be on the White Sox. But that is
game's best.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fun. I mean, if you have a chance to see Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, why would you not? I
would like for you to just take a moment. I know the Cardinals are in a little bit of a downturn here, but we've been very fortunate to see good baseball for so many years, right? I want you to take a moment to think about the fact that at least we're not a baseball team that has to sell 3 full months of games for $125 total.
Yeah.
Because it could be that.
It's so much better. It
could be that your team has so little interest in it that you're almost giving away games for free.
It's so much better to be mad than apathetic.
I could not agree with you more.
You want happy fans, but the next best is angry fans. You want our apathetic fans.
And I want teams to understand that too. Players, coaches, front office, owners. It is objectively not a bad thing if your fans are pissed at you, because if they are, that means they still care.
There you go.
Right.
Speaking of caring, Andrew Bailey has been he's been busy caring about a lot of things. Has a lot of lawsuits right now, whether it is Costco or China. Yeah, I think he sued China. He is now suing Starbucks for its discriminatory, what he is calling race-based and sex-based hiring quotas that provide a disproportionate advancement opportunities to people from different backgrounds, and also for creating professional networks that segregate employees. Now, Ron, we've talked a lot about Andrew Bailey and is he focusing on Missouri, right? And does suing China really help Missouri? Or going after Costco with other attorneys general really help Missouri? And it's not necessarily how I would want our attorney general to conduct business. I will say objectively, in this case, if I'm just looking at it from the merits of the case, I would have to know better details. But I listened to Brad Young this morning as well on Total Information AM. And of course, we know that affirmative action was struck down in the summer of 2023 in the case Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard and UNC. That you can't discriminate, right? What they call reverse discrimination based on race or gender. If Starbucks, and this is according to the lawsuit, really did have quotas, like we want 44% or 40% of our employees to be, non-white, non-male, whatever it may be. And then if managers were getting financial incentives to hit those quotas, that would be illegal. Quotas are illegal. Do universities and businesses have ways of getting around the quota where they're accomplishing the same thing, but they're not saying that out loud? Yes. But it sounds like if Starbucks was saying that part out loud, that's something that's pretty basic. You can't have racial quotas in the United States.
So first of all, let me start where you did. And I kind of agree that sometimes it feels to me like Bailey is auditioning for a national job. It doesn't feel like he's really so much worried about what happens here in Missouri. It feels like he's trying to get the attention of people like Donald Trump, so that maybe someday down the line, he can be promoted in some way or appointed to a job or whatever. That may not be the case. That's just how it feels to me looking at it. Secondly, I guess my question would be, where is the evidence that white people or any other group of people have been not given opportunities at Starbucks that they deserved because they're trying to fill quotas? Now, in the state of Florida, there was a similar lawsuit that was filed, and their HR commission that they have in Florida looked into it because the attorney general there had them look into it, and they found that there wasn't really anything going on, even though the state of Florida is still pursuing some sort of legal action against Starbucks. I don't know where that's going to go. It may not go anywhere, but as of last month, they were still trying to go after them in some way. Starbucks says that this was more of an aspirational thing and not a specific quota. What they wanted was about 40% of people in their stores to be people of color, which is kind of in line with the population. We have about 40% of our country that is that are people of color. I don't really think it's that big of a deal if that's an aspirational thing for them.
Right. And
as long as you're not telling a qualified person who doesn't fit in that category they can't have a job, but there's no evidence that's happening.
That's what the lawsuit will demand, is that you can look at how many people, what was the demographics of the group of people who applied and who was hired. Do you see a huge discrepancy there? Starbucks did announce in 2020 that it would tie executive pay to diversity hiring goals. For example, in 2023, 7.5% of executive bonuses were based on DEI goals. I'm actually a little confused on how that would be legal unless, like you said, it's just an overall aspiration. But what the lawsuit, because the evidence, right, is on the accuser, Andrew Bailey would have to say, here are the numbers of applicants and the demographics. And as you can see, it is the discrepancy of very qualified applicants or white applicants or whatever not getting jobs. That's a much taller task. That's a very tall task.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see where this goes, especially seeing what's been happening in Florida with their lawsuit. That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. When we come back, Bill Dager with AccuWeather will tell us what's in store for us for the rest of the day and over the next several weeks, hopefully. We'll do that next on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
St. Louis homeowners, it seems as if everyone who wanted to sell their home last year is finally starting to take action now. If you're ready to sell your home, I strongly recommend you call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Why should Gloria be your first call? Well, ask the O'Neill family. Gloria sold their home for $30,000 over list price. Or the Krupp family. Gloria sold their home in one weekend for $25,000 over their asking price. Or maybe ask the Cox family, who received multiple offers and sold for $20,000 over list price, which, by the way, was the highest sales price for that subdivision ever. You get my point. Not every home sells for over list price, but one thing is for sure, Gloria Liu will get you the most money possible for your home, and she'll guarantee your agreed upon price. Call Gloria at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too, to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose, paid for by Bayer.
At 10:30, we've got 32 degrees downtown at the Arch. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says NATO membership for Ukraine is unrealistic. He suggested that the way forward for Ukraine is for the country to abandon hopes of a return to its pre-2014 borders and prepare for a negotiated settlement with Russia, one that should be backed up with an international force of troops. Crash on 70 West to 370 left. 2 lanes are closed, and the forecast for this afternoon, we've got overcast, cold, slow snow mixing with sleet, accumulations of 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 6 inches north and west of the city. Temperatures about 32 for tonight, low 16 for tomorrow, high of 28. Right now, 32 feels like 26. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
This is Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, retiresafestl.com. Retirement security means a peace of mind, knowing you have the freedom to live the life of your dreams and to wake up each day without financial stress. Let us simplify your retirement today. Retiresafestl.com.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
O'Reilly Veriscan is a free check engine light testing program that pulls from over 600 million vehicle scans confirmed by ASE certified technicians to provide a simple report and possible fixes. Available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first in line for Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardy and Pella Window replacement specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050 or see them online and have a banner day.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Podcast The Bernie Miklasz Show today on the free Odyssey app and follow to receive Bernie's daily take on Cardinals, Blues, or whatever else is in the news. AUDACY.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. In a few moments, we are expecting to visit with AccuWeather meteorologist Bill Dager. We'll find out what's coming our way. And as we look out the window downtown St. Louis, there are big fat snowflakes
They're
happening.
beautiful.
It is so pretty.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's already it could be if you love spring training.
If you love spring training,
Which
and
is
snowflakes
happening today. Let's get a quick call in. Afton, Mark, you're on KMOX.
Hello, you two. I hope you have a wonderful pre-Christmas snow.
Yeah, well, I think this is post.
Well, pre for
I
next
guess it
year.
could be pre.
Very,
You're right.
very pre.
It's extremely pre.
So it's for this year. It's pre.
Oh yeah.
Andrew Bailey. I'm a Republican, and he's a Republican, but he's not doing his job. And I would really like him to do his job. He's doing things for the national events, national things, because he's trying to go forward in his career, but not from Missouri. And that is simple. Is if the law is being broken in Missouri, then he needs to enforce it. That's what he's paid for. That's what he's hired for. But he hasn't touched a single one of the illegal gambling machines that are out there. And the companies and the stations and plus that have those are illegal. But he hasn't touched a single one of those.
Thank you for calling in. We love to hear from our listeners and really appreciate you calling in. Like you said, a Republican, he's a Republican, but you're frustrated. We'd love to hear from our listeners. What would you want the Attorney General focusing on? Maybe you do want him focusing on, Starbucks or Costco or China, but maybe like our caller just wants him to focus on Missouri-specific issues like the gambling or gaming terminals. Raj brought up Westlake Landfill. How can we bring more attention to that?
So Andrew Bailey did last summer. He was getting criticism from local groups for not focusing on Westlake or having inaction toward it. It doesn't look like he's really done anything, though Senator Hawley has. He's been at the forefront of this, advocating for it in Congress. And while I do not agree with him politically on this, he is absolutely spot on. It is arguably the biggest issue in the St. Louis area because it's dangerous. Mm-hmm. We've got radioactive waste and people are being exposed to it. It's stunning to me that we don't talk about it every single day, to be honest.
Yeah.
So Senator Hawley's on it. Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General, does not appear to have a ton of interest in it, though he did tweet about it back in January, congratulating Senator Hawley and Dawn Chapman from Just Moms STL about their action on it. But I would agree with Mark.
Yeah.
Worry about the state. Now the state, it's not necessarily sexy. It doesn't play nationally so much, but maybe if you were able to take serious action and sue the right people as it pertains to a massive nuclear waste dump, maybe that would play nationally a bit.
Yeah. And so thank you,
if
Mark.
that's what you're worried about.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark, for calling in because, we want to hear from you guys. Like you said, Mark, worrying about the terminals, the gaming terminals. What do you want Attorney General Andrew Bailey to focus on? You can text us 314-436-7900. You can also call us on that number like Mark did. You can text us again, 314-436-7900. Also on the Odyssey app, there is the KMOX page on the Odyssey app, and on that main KMOX page, there's the microphone icon. Leave us a voice message, and if we hear from you, we'd love to get your thoughts on the air later on in the show.
We would love to. We'd love to get the people. Yes, so the snow is coming down. We are still trying to effort our AccuWeather meteorologist. Maybe he is caught up in it. Hope he's okay.
I'm a little
worried.
When I was coming in this morning, 70, like way out west, I think around maybe west of, right at Wentzville. they said it was starting to cover 70 a bit. But that was
I know
an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, Kansas
2
City
hours
was
ago.
supposed to be really getting it today.
Yeah. I think we should speculate about where it is.
If you've seen the snow, light it up. 314. No, don't. We don't.
I see it.
Oh, wow. There are huge, big flakes.
Yeah.
They're all happening right now in St. Louis. I'm really hoping, Amy, that we've had, the winter leading up to December was pretty underwhelming. Like I kind of like when it's snowy around Christmas time.
Yeah.
I like that. And we just didn't get much of that, right? However,
It wasn't until later.
we're getting it now.
Yeah.
In like January, February. We're getting it now, which is still good.
Yeah.
But it's like misplaced. So I'm really hoping that when we get to Mardi Gras, which is a big outdoor thing, and people come into town for it, hope the weather's decent. Hope it's decent for St. Patrick's Day. And of course, opening day is around the corner as well. So we are joined now on the guest line by Bill Dager, AccuWeather meteorologist, who joins us on KMOX. Bill, good to talk to you.
Hey, good to be here, guys. How are you?
We're great. We're looking out the window. We see snow. So how
Big
much are we
snowflakes.
going to end up getting, and how bad is it going to be on the roads?
Yeah, really big snowflakes right now. Some places dealing with some sleet mixing in with that snow as well. And this would probably be the heaviest period of snow here over the next couple of hours. But we could see it accumulate through the evening with these temperatures near or even just below freezing at times. So our current forecast, 1 to 3 inches of snow and sleet through the evening. Of course, colder air moving in after that. So it's going to be a slippery evening commute. And I still think there could be icy spots as we're starting our day tomorrow as well, even though the precipitation will be done by then.
When you look at the St. Louis area, the bi-state area from St. Louis, Southern Illinois, and then moving out west into St. Louis County, what areas will be the hardest hit?
Yeah, the areas are further north and west where we do expect some colder air to be out there with this system. We'll probably get toward that higher end of that 1 to 3 inch range. You have to go pretty far to the north and west. We're talking about closer to Columbia and up toward Hannibal and Quincy to see amounts approaching 6 inches. So I think 1 to 3 is a pretty good bet for most of the listening area. Areas further south and east, close to Cape Girardeau, probably will struggle to get an inch. So, it does depend on where you at, how much you will get.
Okay, so it's not terrible, but the road still could be fairly treacherous in the morning. That's a main takeaway here, probably, right?
Yeah, because those temperatures, after they drop below freezing later today, they're going to go down all the way to 16 tonight. We will have a little bit of wind, which will help dry some things out. But if things freeze up, that ice is not really going to go anywhere until tomorrow morning's commute. So some of those untreated secondary roads and surfaces will be most susceptible to some icy spots tomorrow.
Are you okay if the driving, if the roads have been heavily treated? 16 is cold, but I guess not terrible.
Yeah, take it slow. Even if it looks like the roads are just wet out there, which some of the major roads could be through the evening, nighttime, and early morning hours, just assume that there might be a little bit of ice still there, especially on bridges and overpasses. That cold air going underneath the bridges and overpasses keeps that temperature on those road surfaces lower. So especially an issue on that type of surface.
We were obviously waiting all morning for the snow to hit. Is this just a slow moving storm?
We had some dry air to overcome. The humidity was quite low for a while this morning, so it ended up snowing quite a bit in the upper atmosphere and didn't really make it down to the surface until just recently here. So sometimes you have to deal with that at the beginning of a storm, a couple of hours worth of what's called virga. That's precipitation falling into dry air. And it takes a little time for the atmosphere to become saturated and full of moisture. And that's what we, of course, have right now.
AccuWeather meteorologist Bill Dager is with us, so we are keeping an eye on what's going on now. Kind of hard to ignore it, but I'm also curious. This is the time in St. Louis where we're getting close to a lot of outdoor activities that are happening. We have a Mardi Gras coming up. We've got St. Patrick's Day, and then of course opening day will happen. And any idea of what to project or what kinds of weather we could expect, or should we start really, really warming up by then?
Yeah, we can look out pretty reliably for the next couple of weeks to give you an idea what the temperature precipitation trend is. After that, it gets a little fuzzier, but I'll try to shed some light on that. It definitely in the short term here, the next 2 weeks or so, it looks solidly cold, other than a few days here and there where temperatures can climb up, like Saturday, for an example, into the mid 40s. We're talking about 30s and 20s during the day for the most part, better part of the next 2 weeks, and nighttime lows, single digits and teens, maybe some opportunities for some snow as well. And then as you get toward the end of February, the beginning of March, when more of those outdoor activities can happen, still looks a little chilly then. I am hopeful, though, that as we head into perhaps the middle of March, temperatures may begin to warm up by then. Precipitation still looks above average that time frame because of the weather pattern we're in. So, it's a mixed bag. Maybe we will see some warmer weather, but it comes with maybe some wetter weather as well.
What about travel issues, specifically at airports flying out? Will we see any issues in St. Louis at the airport? And if not in St. Louis, what surrounding cities might cause delays?
I'm sure we're going to see some issues at the airport here just because of how heavy this precipitation is moving through here in the short term. Now, it's not going to be that heavy all day, but there still could be delays from de-icing with temperatures below freezing. And it's not just St. Louis where we have to look for that. Looking at some of the other major hubs across the country, like Chicago and Atlanta, they're getting weather there as well. Chicago is going to see up to 6 inches of snow into tonight. Atlanta's going to see some heavy rain and thunderstorms. So even if it improves in St. Louis, which it will by tonight, you could be facing issues, delays, thanks to what's happening elsewhere across the country.
I'm also thinking a little bit about the upcoming summer, which here in St. Louis, it's always gross. It's always hot and gross. It seemed to me like our last summer wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. Is that about right?
Yeah, so looking back to last, let's look from May to August, looks like temperatures were just barely above average. So it was a pretty typical summer. There weren't many 100-degree days. I'm counting them up right now. Looks like there were 3 of them. So that's pretty low as far as 100-degree days go. So yeah, it wasn't terrible last summer. It ended up being a fairly average summer, temperature-wise, precipitation-wise.
So will it be, are we going to have a lousy one this time? Are we due for it? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's still a little bit of ways out here. We can look at what's called La Nina in the Pacific Ocean. That's when you have cooler than normal ocean waters in the Central Pacific. Sometimes that can portend what happens in North America. So typically in a La Nina summer, it's a warmer than average summer. So perhaps we lean in that direction again here. Of course, still in early February here, so hard to tell too precisely what's going to happen. But if I had to put my money on one way or another, it'd probably be toward a warmer than average summer.
Oh, gross. Okay, that's
gross.
Yeah, not a big fan. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Little swampy.
Bill Dagger, we appreciate the information. Thank you for visiting with us today.
All right, thank you. Have a good day, guys.
That is AccuWeather meteorologist Bill Dagger. Only 3 100-degree days last year. I can handle
crazy.
that.
I
But
feel
when we
like there
get
are
like
more.
5 in a row,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I did get in trouble yesterday from a texter because I asked our AccuWeather meteorologist if people should stay home if they can today. And
It seems like they did.
The texter said that I'm the reason why people just don't want to work anymore.
Oh, is that right?
and they're not coming to work.
You're the reason I don't want to work anymore. I don't mean it. I love you. But seriously,
it like that.
on the way here, there were no cars on the street. I dealt with no
The
traffic coming
MoDOT
here.
signs said "Do not travel today."
Okay.
They said, stay off the roads if you can. So I was just trying to, be kind, follow the rules.
So I was on the way in, and I forgot that it was not Monday.
Yeah.
And I thought, is today a holiday? Because nobody was out.
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid of this storm. Be careful out there, kids. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Have you dreamt of a career as a police officer, but thought your tattoos were holding you back? I'm Officer John Van Gordon, recruiter for the Springfield, Missouri Police Department. Whether it's one small tattoo or a whole sleeve, You can have visible tattoos and still pursue your dream serving your community. We welcome you to apply for the Academy starting soon. You're dedicated and hardworking. That's what we're looking for. To learn more, visit gospd.com. That's gospd.com.
Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Do you love your house and hate the thought of assisted living? Whether you're caring for a loved one in your home right now or planning to live independently in the years ahead, call 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. They can completely remodel your old bathroom in just 3 days and back up their work with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on both their quality and craftsmanship. If all you need is a new walk-in tub or easy entry shower to make your life easier, they could do just that for you. Avoid the hassle and stress of remodeling. Check them out on the web at 3daykitchen.com or call 3-Day Kitchen and Bath for your free design consultation today. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. It's about time.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Get dressed for the 10th anniversary of Jet Men's Fashion Week, February 16th at Energizer Park. It's a great event, raising awareness for men's prostate cancer through men's fashion. Redefine menswear with designers like Terry Singh, Holly Gibson, Julius Evans, Shop Ambition, and more, while supporting this great cause. Together, we can make a difference. Get more information about Jet Men's Fashion Week at kmox.com/events.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
You're leaving for work, but the garage door won't open. Is it the opener? Is the spring broken? Now you're late and your car is trapped. Well, don't panic. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
I'm Roger Brand, and this is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Ronj, I hope you have not eaten any canned tuna lately.
Right now, actually, I'm having some.
Please tell me that it is not from Costco, Trader Joe's, or Walmart.
It's a mixture of all three.
Oh, that's
in one big can. Why?
That's even worse. Okay.
What is it, like botulism or something?
It's botulism!
Oh, come on, dude.
So some canned tuna has been linked to botulism, with major grocers like Costco, Trader Joe's, and Walmart pulling the items from their shelves. And in case you are wondering, yes, Missouri is one of the states for the Trader Joe's cans. Now, obviously, they pulled them by now. But if you have any Trader Joe's label canned tuna in the state of Missouri, don't eat it. You might get botulism.
And I would imagine you can probably contact Trader Joe's if you would like to get your money back. They probably would, don't you think?
Oh, Trader Joe's is the best. Have you ever seen House Guest with Sinbad and Phil Hartman?
Yeah.
And when he's like, she got botulism, like blood and bubbles and guts. I think that was a shark attack. But anyway, he also had botulism. And apparently, botulism causes a variety of symptoms, including dry mouth, facial muscle weakness, and trouble breathing and speaking.
I always thought botulism, didn't they say don't eat dented cans?
Yes. Yes.
Because of
I'm yelling
botulism?
into the microphone.
Yeah, why are you yelling? Calm down.
I was so excited. That's like
About botulism?
That's one of the life rules I know is don't eat from dented cans.
Is that nonsense or is that real?
I think it's real because botulism comes from improperly canned and or stored
That's
food.
what happened to all the people on that expedition. The
oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, I cannot remember the name of it. The expedition where they got stuck in the ice. All of the food they had was tainted.
Oh.
And guys just died. This was like in the 1800s. It's a long time ago.
Shackelford?
I don't think so.
Because they survived.
No. Remember the biggest, I think, the biggest controversy of the baseball season last year, Amy?
See-through pants.
Yes. Major League Baseball has, and Nike, along with MLB, they're unveiling new uniforms this year.
Okay.
So the numbers are going to be bigger. The names on the back are going to be bigger. And apparently the pants are no longer going to be see-through because this was at the offset of the season. Everybody was talking about how awful the uniforms were. And quite a few players were saying the same thing. So they're fixing the uniforms for 2025.
There's really nothing worse. Nothing says low quality like thin see-through pants.
Heavier fabric for road uniforms. But for some reason, not the home uniforms. That won't happen until 2026.
But aren't those the white ones?
Yeah. They're probably the ones who need it the most.
I know.
There will be better wicking of sweat on road grays also, so that because if you remember last year, guys were sweating through the uniforms.
Yeah. Well, that's why like the white, you sweat so much. And that's why you can't wear white clothes when you're sweaty because it just gets a little transparent.
Yeah. So the uniforms, they're going to be better. And if you're one of those people who buys a jersey every year, apparently you will like them better this year. So we'll find out. That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. When we come back, CNN political pundit, analyst, contributor to the LA Times and the Daily Mail, Scott Jennings will join the show. That is next on KMOX.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-485-7220. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-485-7220 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-485-7220 to see if you qualify. That's 800-485-7220.
Happy birthday to us. 2 surprises for you. 2 surprises from NordVPN. 2 surprises for you.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN. We have a special birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. NordVPN is rated as excellent on PC Mag. Visit NordVPN.com and discover one of the most advanced VPNs in the world. What are the benefits? Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Receive alerts if your email address leaks to the dark web. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool. Encrypt your online traffic and browse with more peace of mind. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan with a quick reminder. Schedule that annual eye exam. Routine eye exams not only diagnose vision changes, but can detect systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, to name just a few. Do what I do. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000. The doctors there, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Samuel Berry, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, will provide you with the area's most comprehensive eye exam. These doctors can also help with dry eye disease, the result of staring at screens, flying in airplanes, or living in a dry environment. Dry eye sounds harmless, but it can cause inflammation, blurred vision, and damage to the eye's surface that's sometimes difficult to reverse. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates are expert in diagnosis and treatment of dry eye disease. 314-966-5000, youridoc.com.
It is 11 o'clock in mid-America, and right now, downtown at the Arch, we've got snow falling. 33 degrees, it feels like 27. And we want to get you right to traffic situations. The biggest impact right now is on 70 going west, just past 370. All of the lanes of the interstate are closed. This is between 370 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Also left shoulder, right shoulder affected by this as well. 70 westbound at Cave Springs Truman, the two right lanes are closed. There is some traffic getting by there, but taking a look at the cameras across St. Charles County, much of the roads, the interstates are snow covered, and especially in that closure area, 370 between 370 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, Interstate 70. There are no cars on the view of the interstate from the camera, and everything is snow covered. Also, 55 going north at 141, the middle lane is closed, and we've got a crash on 44 going west at Antire that's got the left lane blocked. We are tracking the progress of the winter storm. AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire explains how long she thinks it'll last.
We're going to see, I think, the snow winding down fairly quickly this evening. I think that by about 6-7 p.m., most areas are probably done with the snow. A little bit longer over into southern Illinois, but not even there a whole lot longer.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has signaled a shift in how far the U.S. is willing to go to support Ukraine, saying that Ukraine should get ready for a negotiated settlement with Russia. CBS's Holly Williams.
He said, quote, "The bloodshed must stop. This war must end." Now, that's not surprising. We know that President Trump wants to end the war in Ukraine. He said he wants a sovereign Ukraine, or the U.S. wants a sovereign Ukraine. That is an independent Ukraine. But he said a return to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is unrealistic.
Hegseth also says that NATO membership for Ukraine is unrealistic. County officials in Springfield, Illinois have agreed to pay $10 million to the family of Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old woman shot and killed in her home last summer by a sheriff's deputy responding to her call for help. The Sangamon County Board approved the settlement last night. County Administrator Brian McFadden.
We will not be raising taxes, we will not be issuing additional debt, and we will not be cutting services. We can handle this through what is in place in those reserves and allow us to do this on a cash basis and do it rather quickly.
Former Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson has been charged with first-degree murder in the incident and remains jailed. A Chiefs star is apologizing for Sunday's big loss.
It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a hard reality. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce on his New Heights podcast with brother Jason, a former Eagles standout. Travis says he takes full responsibility for Sunday's 40-22 Super Bowl loss to Philadelphia. Just wasn't our day. Couldn't find a lick of momentum. I'm kicking myself for some of the tiny decisions I made on the field. I wasn't the best leader. As for talk of retirement, he says he's kicking everything down the road, and for now, I just have to tip my hat to the Eagles. Young Philly fans get Friday off to attend the Victory Parade. All public schools will be closed. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
The KMOX Business Desk, an airline merger rebuffed.
Spirit Airlines disclosed that it received a new buyout offer from Frontier Airlines
earlier this month, but it rejected the bid. Frontier made its first attempt to take over Spirit back in 2022. Spirit is operating under Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel is down 204 points to 44,389.
Snow mixing with sleet this afternoon and evening from the city on south and east with accumulations of 1 to 3 inches. Only snow north and west of the city with accumulations of 3 to 6 inches, high 32. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. It's 32 in St. Peters and Florissant. 33 feels like 27 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broken, it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly because they're open till 8, jerrykelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on, Jerry Kelly.
Use both your KMOX presets when you're in the car. 98.7 FM near the city and 1120 AM further out. 2 buttons for KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Hour 2 of the show on KMOX. Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji, and we go back to the guest line today. It's been a pretty busy first few weeks of the second Donald Trump administration, and to talk about what has happened lately with us, senior CNN political pundit, also contributor to the LA Times and the Daily Mail, also worked in the George W. Bush administration, worked on Senator Mitch McConnell's staff as well. Scott Jennings is with us on KMOX. Scott, good to talk to you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Always an honor to be on KMOX. I'm a longtime listener of the station and glad to be with you today.
Oh, because you're from Kentucky, right?
I'm a Western Kentuckian. I grew up listening to Jack Buck call the Cardinals, and I still listen to most of the games on the radio during the season. So,
so you have
being invited.
You have the Odyssey app downloaded. That's good to know.
I have all the apps.
Good. Get that one. It's free, Scott.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Scott. It's fun to talk to you. I know this is our first time or my first time chatting with you. As Ranj just pointed out, a lot going on in Washington. And I'm just going to, let's start with Tulsi Gabbard. Because she does have her Senate confirmation vote today, as she is Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence. And obviously, there are some concerns with her meeting with Syrian leader Assad. Mitt Romney has said she's parroted Kremlin's pro-Russia propaganda. What are your thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard, her potential as Director of National Intelligence, and whether or not she will be confirmed?
Yeah, well, I think as we have been teeing up this conversation, she may be either confirmed or in the process of being confirmed right now. It looks like she's going to make it. Frankly, it looks like all of Trump's cabinet is going to make it, which certainly seemed to be in question some weeks ago. You know, on Gabbard, look, I think a few things can be true. Number one, I think she has said some things in the past that raised some eyebrows. There's no question about that. I personally strongly disagree with her views on Edward Snowden and his actions in betraying this country and being a traitor and so on. At the same time, you know, she is a lieutenant colonel in the United States military. She was a member of Congress. I think by statute, she's qualified to hold the job, and certainly President Trump thinks that as well. So in this particular case, it's going to be a confirmation, and I hope that when she gets into the job, she'll reassess her views on Snowden and ultimately just understand that I think in all these national security positions, you know, what are you trying to do on a daily basis? Tell the difference between right and wrong and tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. And in most cases, it's not that hard to figure out. And I think that's one of the reasons Donald Trump is doing well right now, because people believe that he's leading in that way and kind of taking a common sense approach. So I think she's going to make it. And I think it also shows the power of Trump's influence in the Republican Party right now.
Yeah. And this one was the biggest concern for me. And I guess, like you said, tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. I mean, she didn't believe the United States when the United States intelligence said, hey, Assad is using chemical weapons on his own people. And so I guess that's my concern with her is, does she know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys? And will our allies feel some hesitation in sharing their intelligence with us, knowing her previous statements and beliefs?
Well, I think I look at the national security zone as a whole team. I have a lot of confidence in the National Security Advisor, Mr. Walls. I have a high level of confidence in Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who I actually interviewed this week for 30 minutes, and he gave me just a lot of hope for what he's planning to do as Secretary of State and what he's already doing. I think Trump himself, is hyper focused on these issues right now, whether it's dealing with the hostage situation in the Middle East, this bringing the guy home, Fogel from Russia last night, and using that as the pivot point to start to wind down hostilities in Europe. So I think the whole team is actually really good, and Trump is the kind of leader who brings disparate voices into a team, and I've kind of personally witnessed him listen to a lot of voices and make decisions. I don't really have any fears about his level of engagement in decision making here. But again, I think he's the kind of president that tends to attract a lot of broad views. And, he's not a doctrinaire or anything. And he has built this elastic government that has everybody in it from Russ Vought at OMB to RFK Jr., at HHS. I mean, it's a broad party and a broad coalition now. And when you have a broadness that he has built, you're going to have some people in it that aren't traditional Republicans. And that's what Gabbard is. But look, she served our country. And anytime you put on the uniform, I tend to want to give you the benefit of the doubt because of what you've done in your military service.
Does it, well, same thing with Pete Hegseth, but does it necessarily mean that they are qualified to run these departments?
Well, I think they are qualified. Number one, the national intelligence position by statute. I mean, I think Congress envisioned someone who's got experience dealing with these kinds of matters, and certainly as lieutenant colonel, she does. And also, she's a former member of Congress. I mean, remember, she's not a stranger to Washington or the bureaucracy of Washington. So I think she is qualified. You can quibble with her views, and that's perfectly acceptable for a senator to do. I think she's qualified. Hegseth is a non-traditional pick, but I would just submit that Trump's a non-traditional president, and people didn't elect him to maintain the status quo. They elected him to shake up Washington. And I've not had a high level of confidence, frankly, in the Pentagon bureaucracy for the last 4 years under Biden. And these are the people that led the botched Afghanistan withdrawal and had some other issues over there. I think they need a different set of eyes. And again, I look at it as a team. I think the team they're putting around Hegseth is also good. I think the team in the White House is good. And so on qualifications, yes. And remember, when you're a political appointee, the qualifications are, does the President of the United States have confidence in you to carry out his agenda? You serve at the pleasure of the president. We elect a president to decide who's qualified to do this. And so the answer to your question is flatly, yes, he's qualified because Donald Trump thinks so.
Yeah, and Donald Trump made some comments this week that I'm glad someone in his position said, which is when he saw some of the hostages that were released by Hamas, the Israeli hostages, that they looked like they had survived, were Holocaust victims. I mean, awful. And said, how is this acceptable? This can't be acceptable. So in that sense, I was glad he brought that out there to the forefront, that the conditions, the torture, the starvation that these Israeli hostages had to endure. Then he said, about the hostages being released and the ceasefire, that there would be hell to pay if they weren't released by this weekend. Do you know what he meant and who he was talking to by those statements?
Well, my assumption is that he was talking directly to Hamas, and they need to be dealt with sternly. And I think one of the problems with this is that usually Hamas, what they have come to understand is that they can make deals and break deals, and then the rest of the world tends to placate them. That's over. I think what Trump was communicating is that's over. We're not placating you anymore. Number one, you're savages, and you're rapists, and you're murderers, and you're kidnappers, and you don't deserve any credibility on the world stage. Number two, you lost the war. Israel defeated you. And that's why we have a ceasefire. That's why you came begging to the table for a ceasefire. You don't get to dictate the terms anymore. But when you look at those videos that you mentioned and you see what they did to these hostages, I think that's the best of it. This is the best group they could have released, and they don't want to release any more because the next group will look even worse or they won't be alive. And Hamas doesn't want to do it. They don't want to admit what they've done to these people, not only in terms of their captivity, but this, PR spectacle they put them through when they release them. And I think Donald Trump is right to play rough with them. And I think they're in full consultation with our ally here, Israel, And my hope and prayer is that if Hamas doesn't release all the hostages this weekend, that the United States and Israel agree that the rest of these terrorists will be wiped out. I don't think there's any more deals to be made. There's no more conversations to be had. How do you negotiate with people who have repeatedly shown you they're not trustworthy? They're still holding hostages and the remains of hostages. What's stopping them from releasing them all today? Nothing other than the fact that they don't want to. So why would we try to, let them dictate the terms of this engagement? I certainly wouldn't, and I don't think Trump is either.
Talking with Scott Jennings here on KMOX, and it's been getting a lot of attention, an exchange that you had this week on the evening CNN show with Abby Phillips about some of these executive orders which have been taken to court, and they have been at least blocked temporarily. And there is this feeling, and even J.D. Vance tweeted that basically the president should be able to do what he wants regardless of what these judges say. Do you really believe that Donald Trump should bypass judges' orders or whatever their rulings are to just do whatever he wants to do?
So here's what I believe. Number one, I don't believe an individual district court judge anywhere in the United States should be able to issue a ruling to effectively commandeer the entire executive branch, which is run by the president, who we elect. They shouldn't be able to do that. I think for years, Republicans have worried about this idea of individual district court judges being able to issue injunctions that apply nationally and that effectively grind the executive branch to a halt. We've been talking about this for a long time. So, for instance, this judge in Rhode Island who gave $700,000 to Sheldon Whitehouse and who, decides to, try to stop Donald Trump from acting, or this activist judge in New York, same thing. What I believe is they, according to the Constitution, in my view, and Vance agrees, that that particular individual lower court judge does not have more power than the president. What I think is the Supreme Court ought to be the final arbiter here. So while I don't think an individual district court judge should be able to set broad policy for the United States, I do think the Supreme Court should be able to be the final word. So what I hope is that we get to a place here where these district court judges aren't allowed to grind the government to a halt, but we expedite these questions. And there are questions. I fully admit that there's questions of constitutionality and legality here. They need to be expedited to the Supreme Court, because I think these activist judges are simply trying to tie Trump up for 4 years, keep him from governing until we get on to the next administration. To me, that totally violates the spirit of an election. Otherwise, why did we have an election if we're just going to tie up the president for 4 years? Let's just send this stuff right to the Supreme Court and let them make the decision. To me, that's what the Constitution calls for. And I don't think an individual nameless partisan district judge in Rhode Island ought to have effectively more power than the duly elected president of the United States.
Well, there are partisan conservative judges too. Would you be saying this if the Supreme Court were 6-3 liberal and not 6-3 conservative?
No, I believe the Constitution is quite clear about the role of the Supreme Court. And I don't believe, no matter who the president is, that an individual, there's 300 and something district court judges. The president is one person, and all executive power, according to the Constitution, is vested in the president, not the president sharing that power with 300 individual district court judges. So what I don't like are these individual judges substituting their political judgment for Donald Trump's. I want to see this stuff go right to the Supreme Court. They're supposed to be the final arbiter. More than anything, the people decided the direction of the government, and the government can't move in that direction if you have one judge somewhere saying we're going to tie this up for the next 2 or 3 years. That's lunacy. Let's just go right to the Supreme Court. And Trump, by the way, in the Oval Office yesterday said he will go to court, he will appeal. So he's going to follow all the norms here. He's going to follow all the rules. But I do think it's kind of crazy that we had an election and all of a sudden 3 weeks in, you've already got the administration in court and effectively unable to enact the agenda on which he clearly ran. He ran on all this stuff. He didn't hide the ball on anything, and the people voted for it. And now we got to fight it out in court. I'd like to see it at the Supreme Court sooner rather than later.
I just had my quick question, so you know where I'm coming from, Scott. I was a Christian, conservative, homeschooled Midwesterner, so you know where I'm coming from, and I've been very concerned with process. So when I see Donald Trump and Elon Musk kind of bulldozing their way through institutional norms, my first thought is, why can't AOC and George Soros do this a few years down the road, since Trump's kind of paved the way?
Well, I would argue that they already have. I mean, I think during the Biden years, they violated norm after norm. I mean, does anybody remember Joe Biden say, the Supreme Court tried to stop me, but I did it anyway? I mean, these guys invented the busting of norms. They went around process. I mean, I feel like we're all having amnesia about what happened during the Biden years.
Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but he just tried different legal paths to see if there was a different way. He was told by the Supreme Court he couldn't do it the way he wanted to do it. So he tried to find a more focused, different path. It's not like he said, oh, I don't care what you say, I'm going to do it anyway. Like, he may have been inarticulate over Twitter or whatever, but legally he didn't really do that.
Well, he tried every which way he could find to use executive power to do something, spending billions upon billions of dollars that had not been appropriated by the U.S. Congress. That is what effectively that he did. And his words were not tweeted. They were said out loud on numerous occasions. It was one of the calling cards of his campaign while it still existed, that I will literally defy the Supreme Court to enact, your will, which in that case, he thought the will was to try to relieve student debt. But my point is this. I think we're well outside norms from the previous administration. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with Trump trying to act within the power that he thinks he has. And I also don't think there's anything wrong with that being tested in court. But I also don't believe it should be tied up for years waiting. Why don't we just go to the Supreme Court now? Because individual district court judges should not be setting broad policy for the United States. The Supreme Court should be the final arbiter. And that's where this ought to land. But it ought to come sooner rather than later. I think people are impatient. They voted for change. They voted against the status quo. And I think these individual judges are trying to maintain the status quo just long enough to get Trump out of office. To me, that totally violates the spirit of an election.
Scott Jennings, we appreciate your time. It's good to have a conversation with you for the first time. And I know that you are very much excited about pitchers and catchers in Jupiter, Florida today.
Let me just say, I think the pitching is going to be better than I think it's going to be okay. I'm a little worried about the run scoring, and I'm a little worried about losing a lot of 3-2 games. So let's keep a good thought for the offense this year.
All right, I'll tell you what, if they can't pitch this year, you know who we're coming after. It's you, because you're the one who said it.
Listen, I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised by the pitching staff. We got to score some runs. It's a run scoring league. We got to score some runs. So let's go do it. Let's blow everybody's minds and have a great season.
Scott Jennings, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Alrighty.
That is senior CNN political analyst Scott Jennings with us here on KMOX. Your thoughts are always welcome. 314-436-7900. It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
It seems every political administration has a different idea about taxes. No matter where you stand politically, you should know how the new tax proposals from the Trump administration could affect you and your retirement savings. The good news is Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are here to help. Join us for the upcoming educational seminar Thursday, February 20th or Tuesday, the 25th at Twisted Tree. You'll learn about the proposed tax changes from the Trump administration and how these changes could affect your retirement and your retirement income. That's February 20th or the 25th at Twisted Tree. Reserve your spot by calling 636-230-8824. Again, 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Attention homeowners. Selling your St. Louis home is a big deal. And look, I understand selecting the right agent can be a daunting task, but it is crucial. There are agents out there who will tell you an unrealistic sales price just to get your business. And that's why I recommend to my friends, trusted agent Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria understands that you need assurances when selling your home, not just empty promises. That's why Gloria Liu will guarantee upfront and in writing that she'll sell your home at your agreed upon price, or Gloria will buy it. You might ask, how can she make such a guarantee? It's easy. Gloria Liu knows how to market and properly price your home. Plus, she has a database of thousands of exclusive buyers, many of whom are looking for a home just like yours. So take it from me, Debbie Monterey, and call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
News, talk, and the heartbeat of St. Louis. This is KMOX.
Sleeting at the Jefferson Barracks Bridge since about 10:15.
Oh, thank you, Kurt. We needed the man on the street report. Be careful out there.
Now, that man on the street was probably not about an hour ago. About an hour ago.
Kurt is not getting paid. And he did leave that message on the Odyssey app, where you can listen to this show. All of KMOX Cardinals baseball you can listen to on the Odyssey app. Download it and send us a message. We also just had a conversation with Scott Jennings from CNN, and we asked you your thoughts on really anything, I guess, we've talked about today. 314-436-7900. Steve is with us on KMOX. Hi, Steve.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Yeah, my thing is, and I've got friends and family that are either hard left or hard right. I consider myself a moderate, but I do like Trump's policies. I don't like the way his rhetoric and all that. I wish he'd shut his mouth. However, this is why the Democrats lost, and it's just so obvious the game plan, and that is to block. Whether the country, which it was a pretty resounding election for nowadays on all levels. And the Democrats made a massive mistake by going too far left and pandering to like 10% of the population. And I look at it as, for instance, as that halftime show at the Super Bowl. Who was that targeting? About 10% of the population?
I think it was young people.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is
it was super popular with all the young people watching it.
Yeah,
I just felt
appreciate the call, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. I felt old, and I get it, and I do think there's a difference, though, obviously, between like the Democratic Party and then what's chosen for a halftime show. And we talked about this at length, like the energy and so forth. Because if you watch it kind of isolated on your phone, you're like, okay, I can see it, I can hear it better. Because apparently they did release it with better audio. I don't think Kendrick Lamar was helped out by the audio at all. But I think that was mainly young people. All the young people knew everything that was
I don't think that was
going
pandering
on.
to a small percentage of people. They picked a guy who's pretty popular. He's well liked as an artist, and so they put him out there.
Over 1 billion listens, I think, on one of those songs that he played, and just won Grammys.
Yeah, one of the biggest songs of last year. So
I did look at, and like I said, I thought it was boring, but probably because, like I said,
it's not your thing.
It's not my thing. Well, It's not my thing in that atmosphere. I think it needs to be a spectacle. But man,
See,
there
I
have
thought it
been
was
some.
and I was watching
Yeah.
from a bar, so I couldn't really
Yeah, it
hear
was hard.
everything, but it did look like a spectacle to me.
There have been some way worse Super Bowl halftime shows
Yeah.
that I totally forgot about. Gloria Estefan and the figure skater team.
I don't remember that. I do want to go
There's a
back and
reason.
I do want to go back and watch it now that I can focus on it because it was difficult where I was. But yeah, I don't think there was any pandering going on during that halftime show. That's Amy Mark's scores over there. I'm Chris Ranji. When we come back, we are going to check in with our guy in Jupiter, Florida, who is watching the Cardinals as pitchers and catchers hold their first workout today. Baseball season's coming. So is Matt Pauley next.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough to retire? Well, you can discover how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class. It's called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these classes at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, everything. And there's no cost. It's free. They ask that you bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a handful of openings for classes this month and next. So register by calling 314-947-2012. 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
At 11:30, we've got snow. It's 33 degrees downtown at the Arch. And traffic is the top story right now as that snow is beginning to fall across the St. Louis area, causing some impacts, including this just in, a crash on 6440 East at the Missouri River. That's on the right side of the road. Still a complete closure of 70 westbound between 370 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. 70 westbound between 370 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Also a crash in the 2 right lanes of 70 westbound at Cave Springs. We've got another crash on 6440 going east at Mason Road. That's got the right lane and shoulder closed. They've just cleared out a crash 64 westbound. That's going the other way. Timberlake Manor Parkway was in the left lane. Also cleared a crash on 44 west at Antire that was in the left lane. There's a crash on 44 going east in the left lane at Lee May Ferry. Also a crash 270 south before Dorset, 270 southbound past I-70. That's on the right shoulder. And a lot of slide-offs of people on whether it's major roads or small streets sliding off because things are getting slick. Just heard TT north of Turkey Hollow. Crews are responding there. And so we'll continue to keep you up to date on the traffic situation.
This just in.
The Senate has confirmed Tulsi Gabbard as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence after Republicans who had initially questioned her experience and judgment fell in line behind her nomination. We'll have more on this coming up at the top of the hour.
The Cardinals are holding their first official workout with a number of pitchers throwing bullpen sessions today. Prior to the workout, President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak meets with the media. He answers a lot of questions about Nolan Arenado's status, but so far, not much has changed.
Obviously, the pink elephant in the room is what are we going to do with Nolan Arenado? You know, you think back to when we first met on this in October, to the GM meetings, etc. And, candidly, we're still looking at what that might look like. And, could something happen in the next week? Possibly. Could this go into camp? Possibly. So I really don't have like a definitive answer for everybody that's curious on what will be the answer. So patience is required.
The Cardinals' first full squad workout is on Monday. If Arenado is not traded before then, he is expected to report to camp. This spring training report is brought to you by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories, and by Norm's Bargain Barn and Wilkie Window and Door. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
We've got snow mixing with sleet from the city on south and east this afternoon into this evening. Accumulations of 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 6 if you're north and west of the city where it's purely snow. High today of about 32 for tonight. Clouds, a low 16 for tomorrow. Sun returns, but the cold sticks around. The high at 28. Right now, 33. The feels like is 28. Snow is falling downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, no limit, plus 36 months with 0 interest. Restrictions apply. Have a price, they'll beat it. Schedule your free in-home estimate today.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Bill Wamsley interviews Chad and Lisa.
This property, for you to have done what you've done, won the award, changed it around, done all the rehab, has got to be worth a lot more.
We purchased it for $8.275, and it's worth $19 million now. So
Wait, whoa. That is incredible. I can see why you won an award, and that's great.
Lifestyles Unlimited. Over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Text the word radio to 88007 for a $297 membership. Save $443 off the regular price. Text radio to 88007.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay is my go-to. They've got millions of parts guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
The 25th Annual Heat Up St. Louis Rise and Shine benefit of participating Hardee's takes place Friday, February 14th. Join KMOX as we rise and shine to keep neighbors in Missouri and Illinois warm this winter. Get a Hardee's sausage biscuit or egg biscuit for $1 and consider leaving some extra dough with our volunteers. Have a heart. Heat a home. The 25th Annual Heat Up St. Louis Rise and Shine benefit. Friday, February 14th at participating Hardee's.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and unnegotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Bernie Nicholas gets the final word during sports on a Sunday morning. Hear what he has to say on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Yo, Paulie! Paulie's a great name. Yo, Paulie! What'd you do for Paulie? Anything? Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you.
It's wintry and snowy and lovely out there. Just looking out the window. Man, look at that.
It's beautiful. It's the most
Coming
wonderful
down.
time of the year.
And it is for many, many people because today is the first day that Cardinals pitchers and catchers work out in Jupiter, Florida, getting ready for the 2025 season. And it is time to go to the guest line today and the host of our Sports Open line show from 6 until 8 o'clock. Most nights, sometimes it is preempted for sports, but also that countdown to opening day and pre and post game coverage here on KMOX for the Cardinals. Matt Pauley is with us from Florida. How's it going, Matt?
It's going well. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing okay. What is it, like 80?
It is 81.
81, man.
Yeah. 81
This is-
degrees.
It's snowing here.
Yeah, it's so much better here.
Okay. Well, sorry. My daughter did not have to go to school today because of that.
Yeah.
See?
I love a good snow day. Well, pitchers and catchers reported yesterday. They began working out today. Does that mean there's a little bit more of a buzz, or was the buzz already there?
No, I think there's more of a buzz today for sure. And we just saw a number of pitchers go out and throw some bullpen sessions, things like that. So there's definitely a buzz. Saw Miles Michaelis and Ryan Helsley and JoJo Romero go out. Oliver Marmol met with the media this morning. John Mozeliak met with the media this morning. So absolutely, this was a day where a lot of stuff was happening, and there definitely is a buzz that goes along with it.
Okay, so you mentioned that John Mozeliak spoke today. Typically, that's what happens with a president of baseball operations or a GM on the first real day of spring training. So what did he have to say?
Yeah, basically a lot of questions about Nolan Arenado. Said that they're still trying to, work something out that's been frustrating. That, generally the first day of spring training is an opportunity to kind of reflect on an off season and the various good things that you did. That is not the case this year. That they didn't really do much in the off season, and there's frustration. They'd still like to get Arenado moved at some point in time, but they are certainly prepared for him to report to camp this weekend.
So it seems like, and this has sort of been the narrative for the last few weeks, that everything's about Alex Bregman and waiting for that shoe to fall before Arenado gets moved. Does it seem likely to you that if it's Boston he ends up with, that maybe the Cardinals have to start the season with Arenado as opposed to him going to the Cubs? How do you read the whole situation?
Yeah, I think if Alex Bregman goes to any team not the Red Sox, I think it is a very likely scenario that Nolan Arenado becomes a member of the Boston Red Sox. But if the Red Sox end up getting Bregman, I don't know what happens at that point. Mo did say today that they had conversation with 5 teams. He gave the number. He said they had conversations with 5 teams about Arenado. So there might be some other interest out there. There might be some other teams that are in the Bregman sweepstakes that would come back around on Arenado. But there certainly has not been the smoke with those other teams that there has been here recently with Boston.
I have 2 questions about the Bregman situation. First of all, it's wild, but this has kind of been the trend over the last several years where some of these really good free agents are still without a job and spring training is starting. This has really been a last several years thing. That's number one. Number two, if Bregman does end up with the Cubs, how much does it change what happens in the division this year?
I think it changes a lot. You can make the argument right now that on paper, the Cubs are probably the best team in the division. It's probably either the Cubs. I don't think there's a whole lot of separation between the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Reds. They're all very different teams, but the sum of the parts, I think, are pretty equal. If you go put an Alex Bregman onto that Cubs roster and you add to the depth of their lineup a little bit, I think it does change things where at that point, they clearly become the top team in the division.
Weren't the Brewers, the whole thing last year with the Brewers, that they were in a transition year of sorts, and then they ended up being a good team, a really competitive team? You disagree?
I mean, they're always in a transition year. That's when you're the Brewers and you're just not going to be able to afford your own free agents, and they're always going to be going, whether it's a Devin Williams or whether it's a Corbin Burns, you're always going to be trading these guys. Every once in a while they'll hold on to them and they'll leave in free agency the way that Willy Adames did this year. But that's the nature of the beast for the Milwaukee Brewers, that you're going to draft and develop some really high-end players, and then at some point you're probably going to have to trade them because you don't have much of a chance of being able to retain them in free agency. And if you want to keep producing high-end talent, you have to keep trading away the guys who have kind of graduated.
Yeah. Let me go back to the Bregman thing for just a moment in terms of team building. It's as I said, I think it's disheartening that sometimes these free agents, and yeah, maybe sometimes what they're asking for is unreasonable. I don't think so. I think most guys are asking for about what they're worth, maybe just a little bit more. That's called negotiating. But is it disheartening to you that we can get this deep into the off season, spring training is starting, and you got a premier free agent who still doesn't have a job?
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy. And it's not good for baseball. Not that this Cardinals offseason was going to be all that exciting. It wasn't. But any fun that is the hot stove was completely hijacked by this Bregman situation. Teams are reporting to camps. Bregman has offers from Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, Boston, Houston. Am I missing anybody? There's 5 teams right off the top of my head. And there are a combination of some of the deals like Toronto and Detroit are more years, less per year. The offers reportedly from Boston and Chicago are less years, higher annual average value. But it's February 11th. Things are not going to change. Yeah, maybe you can squeak out an extra $1 million or something here or there. But last week or in the last few days, we heard that Houston had added money to their offer, but that it wasn't enough to push Bregman over the edge. Well, that's the way teams are not all of a sudden just going to go from offering you, $200 million to $250 million. That's just not going to happen. So it is a little bit disheartening that Bregman has taken so long to make his decision.
Yeah, and I guess you answered my question for me, is if it's bad for baseball, who's holding it up? Is it, bad offers, or like you said, Bregman just not wanting to go with what they're offering? Do you feel like there's a blame game?
It's easy to blame Scott Boras, but at the end of the day, players, agents work for the players, not the other way around. Now, the fact that this stuff tends to happen with Boras agents or Boras clients, and not so much with other ones, it's not a coincidence. But I also think it's kind of lazy just to put the blame on Scott Boras. At some point, Alex Bregman needs to make a decision. He's got all these offers. He's going to make lots of money. All these offers are very respectable type things. Time for him to go ahead and make that decision.
You could make the argument that he doesn't believe they're going to pay him what he's worth, and he wants the security of a long-term deal. I don't have a problem with a player trying to get what they're worth, knowing what teams are making.
Okay, but he's got that offer from Toronto. Doesn't want to go to Toronto. I guess my deal here, Ron, and I get what you're saying. I think we're very like-minded when it comes to players getting paid and getting the most amount of money that they can. We agree on that more often than we disagree. But we're just at a point now where not much is going to change. This is if he wants to not play baseball this year and try again next year, which obviously is a crazy statement. Well, then he can go do that. But he's not gonna eke out more money by continuing to wait at this point.
Do you think we're going to be looking at a work stoppage at all anytime soon?
Yeah, the next collective bargaining agreement is up, in 2 years? And I think there's a legitimate possibility that it goes to that. There always is. We've seen work stoppages before. We'll see work stoppages again. Unfortunately, with baseball, there is such distrust between the players and the owners. That's the starting point, and it tends to go bad before it goes good. So, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and predict that there's going to be a lockout or a strike when this CBA is up. But at the same time, if it happens, it's not going to shock me at all.
But also, I know that you hear some fans a lot actually say they've got to go to a salary cap here because the sport is out of whack. And I don't agree with that. Because I think there's been a decent amount of parity in terms of World Series winners over the years. But I don't see players ever agreeing to a cap. Do you?
No, it's not. No, not going to happen in my lifetime. They are, as a union, they are so incredibly proud of the fact that they are an uncapped sport. And I get it. Like, the optics of the Dodgers is not great. The optics of Juan Soto signing the deal that he signed that most teams out there can't afford. I get it that that's not great, but at the same time, there's as much parity in baseball as there is in any sport. We just watched the Chiefs almost have a three-peat. We see teams, there's a handful of teams in the NFL that have a legit chance of winning the Super Bowl. There's a handful of teams in the NBA that have a chance to win a championship. I guess the NHL is the one sport that's really wide open, but those sports have salary caps, and that doesn't really stop those teams from having, situations where there's just a few teams that really have a chance to win a championship.
All right, Matt Pauley, we appreciate your time as always. What's on the agenda for the rest of the day?
Yeah, so we've got Gas House Gang at noon, and then I've got Sports Open Line tonight, 6 to 8. We'll play a bunch of the audio back from John Mozeliak and Oliver Marmol, and the first official workout just about in the books here in Jupiter. Whoa.
Yeah,
am I going too long?
So now somebody over here is jumping the gun.
Oh,
I'm not gonna name any names.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Bye.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
That's right. Sports Open Line tonight, 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock. You can listen to Matt Pauley, who will have all kinds of good spring training sound for you. Pitchers and catchers working out for the first time today. The full team workout will happen on Monday, the first full team workout. Baseball season is coming.
81 degrees. 81 degrees in Jupiter, Florida.
I'll take the snow instead. I like
like
it
it.
better. That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. This is KMOX.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-0874. 800-390-0874. 800-390-0874.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-485-7220. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-485-7220 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-485-7220 to see if you qualify. That's 800-485-7220.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first in line for Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardy and Pella Winter replacement specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050 or see them online and have a banner day.
I'm Scott Jagow. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Yes.
We're giving away tickets
Never,
today?
you're never gonna believe it. You've heard of remember Michael McDonald? He's from Ferguson.
Yamo Be There?
What?
Yamo Be There.
Yes.
That's a song.
I don't know.
Are
that
you
song.
unfamiliar with Yamo Be There?
Yeah. Is that the one that goes doobie doobie doo?
No.
Doobie doo. That's why they're the doop.
Be there.
It literally is in the song Yamo Be There.
Well, I don't know that song. Okay. But what I do know is Michael McDonald is from Ferguson, and he's in this thing called the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
We're giving away tickets to see them.
For the Doobie Brothers?
Yeah.
Not right now, though.
No.
You have to be listening for your chance to win Doobie Brothers tickets. They will be at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater September 4th. And we have tickets to give away today, tomorrow, and Friday. And I swear to God, if you guys keep calling right now, I am going to lose my mind.
Calling.
They're
Are they seriously?
Already started calling. Not yet.
I think it's you because
It's not me.
I gave away tickets Monday and Tuesday, and nobody called in
I
early.
very clearly, before we started, said, don't do it right now. Actually, I didn't. I think I waited a little too long to say, don't do it right now.
You did. Yeah.
So that's on me. My
Yeah.
bad.
Probably because you were describing the Yo, I'm Going to Be There song.
Yeah. What?
Yo, I'm going to be there.
Yo, I'm going to be there. You think that's the name of the song?
What did you just say?
Are you kidding?
Yamo be
Yamo, it's called Yamo Be There.
How is it spelled?
Y-A-M-O. Yamo Be There. Isn't it?
Why? It's I don't know. I've never understood this. It's Y-A-H space M-O space the letter B.
Oh, there's an H.
There.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I always thought it was like him saying, "Yeah, I'll be there," but that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said it correctly. Yes, I'm going to be there.
That's not. Would you? If we interviewed Michael McDonald, would you go? Actually,
My favorite song.
actually, it's yes. I'm going to be there, Michael. Would
Yeah.
you do that?
Sure.
Wow.
What did I?
Yeah. So you got to be listening for
Oh.
your chance to win. We'll tell you
Yes.
when. We'll cue you.
And also, we do want to hear from you because we talked about Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is suing Starbucks and Costco and China, and we want to know if you are, glad, you're supportive that he's doing those things, or if you're like our caller Mark, Mark said he's a Republican. And obviously, Andrew Bailey's a Republican. But he wishes that the Attorney General would be focused on more Missouri-specific issues. Like Missouri has issues, legal issues that are happening right now, and he wants the Attorney General working for him. So we want to know, how do you feel about Attorney General Bailey's quests to sue China and Starbucks? Are you happy with him? What do you think he should be focused on?
And there are multiple ways you can tell us. You can, on the Odyssey app, send us a voice message. The app is free to have on your phone, and you can listen to this show live and listen to Cardinals baseball, all that stuff. But with the send a message button, you can tell us what you think. You can text us at 314-436-7900. We're also on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX, and we do have that question right there for you. You can respond to it. Holly has responded and says she thinks he's nothing more than today's performative political grifter. So do you disagree with Holly? You can let us know via Twitter.
And quick update, you probably know this because we did talk to Scott Jennings, that Tulsi Gabbard has been confirmed by the Senate as Director of National Intelligence. It was a 52-48 vote. Mitch McConnell was the only Republican to vote no. After the vote, he said, quote, the nation should not have to worry that the intelligence assessments the president receives are tainted by a director of national intelligence with a history of alarming lapses in judgment.
And the Senate has voted 53-47 to advance Robert Kennedy's nomination for the Health and Human Services Secretary. So, okay.
Lots of news out of Washington, but we want to hear from you next. That's when we're going to hear from you if you hurry up.
Next. Yeah, you better hurry up. Otherwise, we'll never hear from you.
Yes, I'm going to be there. This is my favorite song.
It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter. When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank and Building Community. We are proud to recognize the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis for all they do to improve the lives of the people they serve. The Urban League supports the belief that everyone in our region deserves a good education, a path to a career, and a safe community with impactful programs and services that help over 200,000 neighbors annually. Learn more about our Urban League St. Louis, ulstl.com.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. The Urban League empowers African Americans and others with programs promoting self-reliance, social equity, civil rights, education, housing, and safety. More than 65 programs and services allow everyone to thrive and contribute to a brighter future. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
Understanding the big issues requires big conversation.
When I walk out my door, the basic services that I need in the city aren't happening.
I don't believe that to be true.
Big questions and answers.
I think that's exactly the point, Michael.
And the big names who are making the decisions coming to the table.
It's always great to be on KMOX.
KMOX is the voice of St. Louis because we ask the big names, big questions on your behalf.
I'm happy to be on anytime.
For local answers and local understanding, it's always KMOX.
It's 12 noon in mid-America. We've got snow, 33, feels like 28 downtown at the Arch. We're learning that 5 vehicles are involved in that crash that has 70 completely closed at 370 in St. Charles County. 3 right lanes, actually, here's the update. 3 right lanes are blocked, 70 westbound at 370. You're backed up at least to Zumble there. Also a crash on 370 going west at 141. That's got the left lane closed there. A crash on 70 westbound at Cave Springs Truman. That's got the right lane blocked. Moving to 70 westbound at Earth City Expressway. There's a crash there that has the right lane blocked. 270 going southbound past I-70. The right lane is closed. Right shoulder's closed because of a crash. 255 south, 255 westbound before I-55. Crash there. No word on lanes impacted. 6440 going eastbound at the Missouri River. The right shoulder is closed because of that. 64 east, but then 6440 westbound. We've got the Boone Bridge impacts as well. Metro East, there's a crash on 255 going south at Black Lane. No word on exact lane closures there as well, but 255 going south at Black Lane. The January snowstorm was worse because it stayed really cold. What can we expect with this current winter weather system? AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire.
We could get as low as 16 degrees probably shortly after daybreak tomorrow with the clouds hanging on. Then even though the sun breaks out by midday tomorrow, we're only going to get back to about 28 degrees. Tomorrow night is still cold, and it looks like most places are going to get down into the teens once again. So it's definitely going to be another kind of Arctic blast coming in behind this particular storm system as well, even though we're not in the worst of it.
KMOX is covering breaking news.
The jury in the Michael Madigan corruption trial is back with a verdict, and the former Illinois House Speaker is now convicted. Terry Keshner has the latest from Odyssey's WBBM in Chicago.
This just coming down a short time ago. Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan has been found guilty on 10 counts against him, among them wire fraud, bribery, and conspiracy. The jury also finding Madigan not guilty, though, on 7 counts, and the jury was deadlocked on all counts against co-defendant Michael McLean. But again, though, former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan, one of the most powerful politicians in Illinois history, has been found guilty on 10 counts against him, among them wire fraud, conspiracy, and bribery. We'll have much more throughout the day.
CBS News special report.
Yeas are 52, nays are 48. Nomination is confirmed.
The U.S. Senate has confirmed President Trump's choice for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. New York's Chuck Schumer led the opposition as every Democrat in the chamber voted against her.
It's hard to believe, of all the talented and capable people, that this is the person nominated.
CBS's Torian Small says Republican Mitch McConnell also voted against her, but others in the GOP who raised questions about Gabbard got behind her.
Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, those are two normally on the fence Republicans who ultimately sided with the party to push Gabbard across the finish line.
Gabbard's a military vet and former congresswoman who had made past comments sympathetic to Russia. She once met with now deposed Syrian President Assad and expressed previous support for government leaker Edward Snowden. CBS News special report. I'm Steve Kathan.
The KMOX Business Desk, a bar inspired by television shows.
How does a Squid Game-inspired cocktail sound? Get your taste buds ready. Variety is reporting that Netflix has opened a restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. Netflix Bites specializes in creations inspired by the streamer's originals. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 162 points to 44,430. Well, just in the last 4 minutes, now we've got a crash on 70 going westbound at Union. That's got the right lane closed. Also, good news, the crash 70 westbound at 370. We've got this report from MoDOT that all the lanes are open now. 70 going westbound at 370. That was that major crash that had the interstate closed.
This afternoon and evening brings snow mixing with a little sleet from the city on south and east. Accumulations 1 to 3 inches. Just snow 3 to 6 inches north and west of the city. Temperatures near 32. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
News update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. And right now, downtown at the Arch, seeing just clouds out the window. We've got snow in St. Peter's, 32, 33 in Florissant with snow, 33. Feels like 28 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Use both your KMOX presets when you're in the car. 98.7 FM near the city and 1120 AM further out. 2 buttons for KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Today is Wednesday. Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. I like Wednesday. It's not as good as Thursday, which is coming up tomorrow.
Have you heard, we were talking about the Doobie Brothers and giving away tickets? Not now. Be careful.
Not
Don't
yet.
call in. Not
Calm
yet.
down.
But Charlie Puth, the singer, does an incredible Michael McDonald impression. Incredible.
Matt Pajeski thinks he does a good one, but it's not. He did it during the break.
Can I hear
not,
it?
It's not meant for air either.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Is
fine.
it like,
You know, okay.
woo,
You know
go.
the song "Ride Like the Wind" by Christopher Cross? No, and he sings back up on that.
Uh-huh.
He goes, Michael McDonald sings something like "Such a long way to go," like that. It's just like that.
Terrible.
Wait, can you do that one more time? Can you play that back?
Such a long way to go.
You think that sounds like Michael?
Yeah, it does. If not better, really.
Oh my God.
I thought it was good.
What's going on in here? Amy Marks scores Chris Ranji. Tom is joining us from, I guess, Kirkwood or somewhere, St. Louis. I don't know. Tom, hey, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing good. I wish you two would have asked Scott Jennings about January 6th. It'd be interesting to hear his spin on that. I mean, this guy wouldn't make a warrant on major clearance, but quit having him on.
Oh,
Well, it was our
Tom,
first
appreciate
time.
the call. First time we've had him.
Yeah.
Couldn't really understand all of the call, but I don't think he was happy that we had Scott Jennings
He sounded
on.
a little bit underwater. A little bit.
Well, I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay. No, I appreciate the call. And here's the thing. A little something for everyone. That's our slogan.
That's this. Yeah, that's what.
That's
yeah.
the slogan of our show is Chris and Amy. A
Well,
little something for everyone.
The reviews have been mixed on the Scott Jennings appearance. There's one from Gene who says, "Tell Scott his favorite fan says hello.
Oh.
He keeps those CNN Dems in line as they melt down." The next text says, "Get this fool off the air." So
I would say that
they're all over.
Yeah. Hey, tomorrow is Thursday, which means we have Major Garrett because, he's great. We like national, we have local, a little something for everyone.
That's the whole point. And
the whole point of our show.
Our guy on Monday, Chris Saliza, he's with us every Monday.
Yeah.
He tweeted about Scott Jennings yesterday and said that I'll have to find the tweet, but said that they should give him his own show. And he said people who love him would watch, people who hate him would watch.
Mhm.
The point is people would watch. That's what Chris said about Scott Jennings, whether or not you agree. Also, a texter wants us to let you know that with the Doobie Brothers concert at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater in September, the Coral Reefer Band is also going to be playing. That's Jimmy Buffett's band.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought he was Margaritaville. Wait, what's Jimmy
Yeah?
Buffett and the Lovers or something?
I don't know.
The Coral Reefer
Coral
Band?
Reefer Band. That's what this says.
There you go.
So maybe it's just the band,
Okay.
right?
Anyway,
But we're going to be
I feel like
giving
I-
away tickets before the show is over. You need to know that.
All right. So we were asking too about Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey suing Starbucks over race-based hiring, and even setting aside that specific case, he has been taking on some of the more national / culture war issues that are talked about on cable news. And what we want to know is, are you glad he's taking on these topics, or do you wish that his focus was a bit more Missouri forward? So when you're looking at the state of Missouri and the issues that it's facing currently, we obviously know the Westlake landfill should be the biggest story going on right now. We have the HBO documentary called it, a nuclear home front. We've got a huge issue here with a smoldering fire, a landfill where nuclear waste was carelessly deposited, people getting sick, people who grew up near Coldwater Creek. That could be something that you could bring more focus on alongside Josh Hawley. We had someone call earlier about the gaming terminals, the lottery gaming terminals, and those need to be checked out. So we want to know, what would you prefer the Attorney General focus on, or do you like the fact that he's focusing on these bigger issues? Like I said, with Starbucks, that case is, if you look at it in a vacuum outside of the Costco issue or China, the lawsuit against China, I don't know what's going to come out of this. What Andrew Bailey does have to do is provide evidence that Starbucks was actively discriminating in its hiring processes. We know that quotas are illegal. You can't have straight up quotas. Starbucks did have some aspirational goals as far as who they're hiring. And I thought this might be problematic. It was tied into bonuses and pay if they were able to hit those goals. So it might come down to semantics. It might come down to how they hire. It might come down to how many people were they turning down who were male or white or both. So I don't know. He's going to have to provide evidence, but that remains to be seen.
And it's also probably pertinent to pay attention to what happened in Florida, where their attorney general also went after Starbucks and had the Florida Commission on Human Relations look into this very same matter. They came back and said that they didn't find anything, that was wrong, even though she is continuing to pursue it. She's going to try other legal means. But I mean, to me, he's going to have to prove to me that white people go in for a job at Starbucks and don't get it because they're hiring somebody else who's black, or hiring somebody who is Native American or whatever. Like, you're going to have to prove that to me, that there are all these people who can't get jobs because of this rule that Starbucks
And
has.
we talk so much about loopholes or gaming the system. Whenever you're talking about something like hiring practices after the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, saying that it violated the 14th Amendment, are there going to be workarounds? Are there ways that you can change the language? Absolutely. So you have to look at each university. You have to look at each business. You also you can't conflate maybe how a business talks about its policies to the public and actually breaking the law. For instance, after 2020, and it was a pretty divisive, contentious time, Starbucks said we're having an open bathroom policy, right? Anybody can come in, anybody can use the bathroom. Not to have that policy is discriminatory or could be racist and so forth. So we have our open bathroom policy, and that's the way they swung after 2020. Well, we know this year they've reversed that and said this is not something that we can do. We need to keep our bathrooms and tables for paying customers. But that's not illegal. Neither of those things are illegal. That's just a private company adjusting its policy. So he's going to have to prove that the illegality of some of their hiring practices versus just not liking a statement that they've made.
Also, I don't know, maybe this is me and maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but I would just like to maybe tackle some issues that really do affect a lot of people. This to me is not, it just seems like a giant waste of time and Missouri taxpayer money to be doing this. Is it because in my opinion, the way this appears to me is this appears to be performative. That it's a popular thing right now to go after any initiative that's DEI or appears to be DEI. So he's going to jump on top of that and hopefully get the attention of somebody on the national stage where it could further his career. That's my read on it. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way it looks to me. Worry about Missouri, like worry about things that actually affect people in the state because we have our own problems.
We definitely do.
Let's work on Missouri here.
We definitely have our own problems. I kind of wish some of the issues that the Attorney General is tackling would look a bit more like our state auditor, Scott Fitzpatrick, because that's so he has to audit the state of Missouri.
He's looking at the city. He's looking at the county. Those all impact us.
And that makes me feel like local government is, or I should say the state government, right, is looking out for Missourians, saying, hey, how are your tax dollars being used? What about the St. Louis public school system? What's going on here? We need to audit them. Or, the St. Louis County with the prosecutor's office. We need to look at what's going on. So I like the fact that we actually have an auditor now, because it was not always this way. We have an auditor who's doing work, and I do wish that local focus of an auditor's office, that the AG's office looked a bit more like that.
That's Amy Marks-Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Visit with us, would you? 314-436-7900. At some point, we're going to give away those Doobie Brothers tickets. You'll have to be listening for your opportunity and the cue to win. You got to be listening for that. You can't just call in and thinking you're going to get tickets without waiting first. Calm down. We'll get to it. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LANE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LANE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LANE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Start the new year off right with your best vision for 2024. This is Megan Lynch for Ophthalmology Associates. Now's the time to schedule your annual eye exam. It's what I'm doing for my entire family. The doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or you can get more information at youridoc.com. One of the conditions they can test and treat is dry eye. When the furnace is running, you're at greater risk for dry eye disease. The doctors of Ophthalmology Associates can prescribe the perfect eye drops to prevent and treat dry eye. Ophthalmology Associates is located at 12990 Manchester Road, a half mile west of I-270 on eastbound Manchester Road. Call Ophthalmology Associates 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news, KMOX.
And I've got such a long way to go, such a long way to go. Make it to the border of Mexico, so I ride like the wind.
This is Christopher Cross.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Christopher Cross Lady in Red?
Yes. No. That's Krista Berg.
Krista Berg.
Wait, Krista Berg or Chris
DeBerg.
DeBerg?
Yes.
Is it not Lady in Red, but damn it. Now I lost it. Christopher Cross. Sailing. Is that him?
And Ride Like the Wind.
Okay.
Never Be the
We
Same.
should do this for the next 20 minutes.
Let's do it. I'd rather just guess music than anything
who sings
else.
that song? Doobie doobie doo. Doo 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 doobie doo.
Crosby,
Doobie
Stills,
Brothers.
Nash and Young.
No, the Doobie Brothers.
Oh. I thought it was Doobie Doobie Doo.
Those are the Bud Ice Penguins.
Nope, that was Frank Sinatra. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji check in with us, 314-436-7900. So you heard after the Super Bowl, or actually it was leading up to the Super Bowl, it was the MVP announcement. Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills became the most valuable player. And this is what he had to say. This is what Josh Allen had to say on stage. And it was kind of an adorable moment. And there's a follow-up to it that you need to hear. This is Josh Allen, yes.
And I know this is an individual award and it says most valuable player on it, but I think it's derived from team success. And I love my team. D-Doc, thank you for presenting. I really appreciate it. We got such a great locker room in Buffalo. And it takes everybody from the equipment staff to the training room to the strength staff to Slick Rick in the mail room to the cafeteria upstairs. Like it truly takes everybody to have team success. And I'm so fortunate to be a part of a great organization.
Okay, so he mentioned Slick Rick, and
Mhm.
people started talking about Slick Rick. Like, who is this Slick Rick fella who is in the mailroom? Well, Slick Rick got interviewed yesterday about this, and I have to tell you, it is. I think it's the most adorable thing.
I said, if Josh doesn't get MVP, I'm going to cry. I said, I'm going to cry because he deserves it. I mean, he's that important to our team. So basically, when I was watching the awards, when he went on stage, everything, I was happy that he had won it. And it went from joyful to crying because when he mentioned my name, I just broke down. I broke down because I'm just an average person. I mean, but when he mentioned my name, it was like, oh my God, he just mentioned my name on national television, So it was like, I was just crying. I was crying. Then I started getting phone calls from friends, and I was crying on the phone to them. It's still like a dream.
Oh my God,
That's amazing.
it's just the best. Just this guy who's works in the mailroom.
Mhm.
Probably has a pretty simple thing going on, and then you're not. I will say this: if you get your name in the paper or something, or your name's mentioned anywhere on the news, and you're not used to it, it's like a wow.
Yeah.
And then to have Josh Allen in front of all those people just mention you, and everybody go, "Who is Slick Rick?" with all this interest. And then it's just, I would imagine that would be really affecting. I
Well,
think it was a really, really sweet moment.
And it's so much more than just the fact that obviously Josh Allen knows Slick Rick, maybe says hi to Slick Rick, has a good, relationship
remembers
with
him.
In that moment of him winning that award and of him, Josh Allen, thinking, what makes this organization click day in and day out? In that moment of elation and thinking of your teammates, that Slick Rick was right up there, like top of mind, which means it's not just that Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Bills, knows Slick Rick's name. It's that he thinks about
He was
him.
thinking about him.
He sees him as a major contributor to the organization. If he doesn't, you're not bringing up his name. He's like, no, this guy helps things run. And so it's acknowledgement of the work that he does. I think that's just incredible.
Well, now let's go back to the question that we discussed on Friday. Would you rather have a really nice guy who's your quarterback or a butthole quarterback who's winning Super Bowls? I'm going to take the butthole.
Should we? You mean as a quarterback?
The butthole quarterback. Yeah.
I think that should be
Clipping it.
I wish you would.
I think that should be our Twitter poll today at Chris Amy KMOX.
Did we ask that last week? I thought we were going to.
Did we?
I don't know. I'm having too much.
I'm going to take the butthole. Whoa, come on. Hey, this is KMOX. You know what? Do you have any idea? You have any idea what you're doing to Robert Hyland right now? This is such an adorable thing. I love it. But I would still rather have the guy who's just a giant jerk who wins Super Bowls for me. But it is nice that Josh Allen is
I don't know that we put this up as a Twitter poll. I don't think we did.
If we haven't, we'll do it.
If we have,
we might do it
our
anyway.
bad.
We might do it anyway.
We did like with coworkers. Would you rather have a coworker who's nice?
Oh, that's
but
right.
bad at
That
his
was a
job?
long time ago.
Totally different.
Okay, yeah, this
is
is
a
different.
quarterback for
This is
winning the
different.
Super Bowl.
So follow us on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX so you can vote in that Twitter poll. Also, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So there's been speculation about his future, if he's going to retire, if he's going to keep playing. If you saw the way he played in the Super Bowl when they were down by 3 scores, he was just mailing it in. So you might think, well, he wants to be done. Here's what he had to say on the matter.
It's just a tough reality. And, I think I'm going to take some time to figure it out. And I think I owe it to my teammates that if I do come back, that it's going to be something that it's a wholehearted decision. I'm not half-assing it, and I'm fully here for them. And I think I could play. It's just whether or not I'm motivated or it's the best decision for me as a man, as a human, as a person to take on all that responsibility.
What was he referring to that was a tough reality? The decision to continue or not? At the very beginning, he said it's a tough reality.
Maybe it's trying to figure it out. That was from the New Heights podcast with his brother Jason
Because
Kelce.
after the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes had said, like, Travis Kelce has a lot of football left in him.
Yeah, and I'm almost positive Kelce last week, leading up to the game, said that he thinks he could play another 5 years. So I don't know if he's going to play or not, but it's really a question of, is Taylor, once they get married, is she going to try and talk him out of it like Giselle had to do with Tom Brady?
I don't know, but do you think that if he had proposed after the Super Bowl loss, Taylor Swift would have felt sorry for him because he would have been all teary-eyed and sad? And then she's like, I can't also say no.
He would have lifted her spirits after she got booed.
She got booed because she's the biggest, most high-profile Chiefs fan, and that stadium was overwhelmingly Eagles fans. Eagles fans booed Santa Claus.
Also, remember the movie, and because you're talking about him proposing after a loss. I don't think you can. You can't propose after
kind
a
of
loss.
A downer.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a horrible day, but I married you, so
you
consolation prize.
After a championship, maybe. The movie Fever Pitch that they filmed part here.
Yep. With Fox Sports Midwest cameras.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have their equipment here, and Drew Barrymore had to get ready on the way here.
Did they get engaged on the field, or did they just hug and kiss? I can't remember what it was.
They just kissed.
But I do know, and I think most people know this, but if you don't, the assumption was that the Red Sox were going to lose that World Series.
Mm-hmm.
And they still planned the whole movie thinking the Red Sox were going to lose the World Series, and they ended up winning. So the on-field stuff that
real.
they filmed, it was all totally real.
And like I said, literally the Hollywood production company had to use a Fox Sports Midwest camera. Said, hey, can we use one to film this movie?
I remember watching the aftermath, people on the field milling about, and I said, is that Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon? Why are they down there? I didn't know they were filming.
That's hilarious.
Had no idea. That's Amy Marks Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. When we come back, we're going to talk to the mayor of Granite City, Mike Parkinson, about Donald Trump's proposal of steel tariffs for foreign nations and how that will affect Granite City and domestic steel. Mike Parkinson, the mayor of GC, is next.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
12:30, we've got 34 degrees downtown at the Arch. Appears to be some good news on the traffic front. The sleet and snow, when it initially began to move into the area, caused some issues. People may have been caught off guard by the roads getting slippery, but now it appears that people are adjusting and crews are getting a handle on this. They've cleared that crash 70 westbound at 141. Also cleared a crash on 70 west at Union. The big one we've been following, 70 westbound at 370. All the lanes are open there now. That's been cleared. Multi-vehicle crash there, 70 west at 370. There is a crash on 70 west. Actually, no, they've just cleared that, the one at Union. They've also cleared 255 west at 55. We've got 270 southbound at I-70. The right lane is closed at this point, but 4 lanes are open. And there's another crash on 70 west at Bircher. That's got the 2 right lanes closed. This afternoon, overcast, cold, snow mixing with sleet for the city on south and east this afternoon with accumulations of 1 to 3 inches. To the north and west where it's just snow, 3 to 6 inches is possible. High today, 32. Overnight low, 16. Tomorrow's high, 28. Right now, 34 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
99 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for savvy homeowners. Since 1926, they are the only authorized dealer of Overhead Door brand products in the city. Always look for the iconic red ribbon to be sure you're dealing with the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. For same-day garage door repair 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis or schedule online overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If it's happening in sports, Bernie Nicholas talks about it Tuesday and Thursday on The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX. Current President Trump is planning to impose a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports that come into the United States with zero exceptions, zero exemptions. And to talk about how that is going to affect the domestic steel industry in particular here in the St. Louis area is Mike Parkinson, the mayor of Granite City, with us on KMOX. Mayor Parkinson, good to talk to you.
You too, Chris. Chris and Amy, how are you guys?
So we are doing okay. So when you hear this, the 25% tariff, which was discussed on Monday, what do you think? How will it end up affecting U.S. Steel in Granite City?
Well, I think it's a multifaceted approach, right? The tariffs have done well. I think they can help production of steel in the United States. Trump had put 25% tariffs and 10% on aluminum in 2018 previously, and it did help for a while. Those imports fell by 10.2 million tons, or 27%. Between 2017, the year before the tariffs went into effect the first time, but they really, after 2020 as a pandemic, after the pandemic, that cut the demand for steel greatly. And while it's never really come back from the levels we saw of production and sales before 2017. So, it's kind of up in the air. I think that getting more people to buy steel manufactured in the U.S. with tariffs is great, but we also have to worry about what that's going to do to automobile costs that are being imported. I think one of Trump's ideas is really to cut the loopholes out so that people can't ship steel from steel that's not quite finished to from China to Canada or Brazil, which are the two leading importers of steel in the United States. I think that closing the loophole where China would send almost finished steel to those areas, they would then finish the steel here and then import it in the United States as non-China steel, where tariffs were before. I think closing those loopholes are great. I think keeping a lot of cheap steel dumped on our soil is great. But this is a tricky thing because you're now talking about some of our allies in Canada, and we don't know what they're going to do on the tail end of this and increase tariffs on things that we're exporting as well. So I think he's on the right track, that it needs to be a fair balance of trade. But I think this one will be a great case study. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the United States does get most of its steel from Canada, Brazil, and Mexico. China, I think, has fallen down to 10th on the list, with like just over 1% of the steel coming from China. But are you saying one of the loopholes is that unfinished steel is coming from China to Canada, and then we get it from Canada? Is that?
Well, I used China as an example,
Okay.
but yeah, there is a loophole in there that the president has talked about, in that they kind of game the system. Some countries import semi-finished steel, make it into slightly more finished product, and then ship that in the United States to skirt the tariffs on certain countries. So, I mean, that is one loophole that he's trying to change, and I think that is a good one. And again, I think that fair tariffs is a good idea. I mean, when we're trying to export our steel and we're not getting a fair deal with these other countries, and they're putting tariffs on our imports in their countries higher than what they're giving back is not a fair deal. So like I said, I do think he's on the right track. I think that we do have to be cautious of killing the American citizens on the cost of products that are imported from other countries that may get into a tariff war.
Yeah, I think the idea would be, okay, well, we're just going to, and generally speaking, we're just going to promote buying American-made stuff. But that ends up really trickling down to people who want to pay less for things around the country. You're going to want to pay less for as much as you possibly can, get as many deals as possible. So this would increase your cost. What sort of, I guess, concerns are you getting from, if any, are you getting from people who work at U.S. Steel and Granite, or from the union?
Well, I think the folks that I've talked to across the street all believe the tariffs are good. They're happy. I think that the deal with Nippon has been stopped for now, at least. I think that they feel that the best interest for them is having a company that doesn't exist with Dave Burritt. Dave Burritt doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that really wants to help the workers here. So I think that we saw some language that if another buyer came in, Dave Burritt wouldn't be in the picture. The amount of money that Dave Burritt would make on this deal certainly gives the impression that he doesn't really care that much about the United States or production in the United States, and more about how much this deal is worth.
And just to clarify, Burritt is the CEO of U.S. Steel right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is
So
there?
I think
Go ahead.
that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from the employees over there, that they feel like Dave Burritt is just that guy that's not going to do much for them here. So I think they're looking for help from the president, and maybe even coming back here and getting him to look at this plan as a viable option and getting people back to work here. And if the tariffs help that, then this is great.
Is there a concern that if the price of steel goes up with production being, using domestic steel, that the production of industries that rely on steel, that production level would just go down to balance out the sheets? Like, they won't be producing at the same amount because it's going to cost more.
Yeah, I think that is one of the concerns, and the other concern is just if we place all these tariffs on foreign steel and we're relying on just the U.S. companies that produce it, will they raise their prices as well, because they can make better margins now that they don't have as much competition? So that's a concern as well. But when you look at what we're using steel for in the United States, with building materials, bridges, infrastructure, cars, ships, trains, machinery, appliances, electronics, all these things that we use steel for in the United States, there is a big concern that, without fair competition, those prices could increase. But, we want the fair competition to be good for Americans and American companies. and for workers in America, and to have things like revenue sharing, but to include the working people in these conversations when we're talking about, the overall profitability of a company. And again, the message I'm getting from my constituents over here is Dave Burt's not that guy. And it might just be time for the company to look a different direction from him and where he's led this company into this mess to begin with.
This might be getting into the steel weeds, so to speak, but I know like there's different kinds of steel, and food equipment manufacturers, for instance, need food safe steel. And that was kind of an issue in 2018. That could U.S. steel manufacturers keep up with the demand for steel, including the specialty food safe steel? Is food safe steel more of an unusual steel product in the U.S.?
Well, I'm not real well versed on the steel industry as far as food related products, but just speaking in generalities, I think the goal here is to get America back to making the products that America needs and not be self-reliant on foreign produced products in this country. We were once the great manufacturer of everything, and we've just fallen so far behind. So I think, from what I hear from President Trump is that he his catchphrase, well, let's make America great again, right? So if that's the case, then we do have to make a push to get our companies making all these products that we rely on. Otherwise, we're always going to be reliant on foreign manufacturers for the goods and needs of our country, and that's not a good place to be.
Granite City Mayor Mike Parkinson with us, and I wonder, just from a really stepping back and looking at it, we in this country like to make sure our workers are taken care of, that they do get compensated well, that they have benefits, that they work in a safe environment. I'm wondering if it's even possible to have industries where you have well-paid workers and then also make steel or make products that are relatively inexpensive, which is, again, why some of these companies use steel from somewhere else, because maybe their environments aren't very safe, or they're not paying their workers very much. So, like, how do we make that happen where we can still pay our people well, but then also have a product to sell that is relatively inexpensive and doesn't drive up costs for everyone else?
So I don't think the problem's with the United States on that issue. I think the problem is with these foreign countries that are not living up to the standards that we should hold them to on safety aspects for their workers, for fair living wages, for the environment. We hold ourselves to a higher standard in the United States when it comes to those things with pollution and the ozone and fair working labor wages for our workers, for healthcare, for all the basic necessities that human rights should give people. I don't think we see that in a lot of these other countries, and maybe it's time that that our allies stand together and start demanding that these countries treat their citizens better, and that they also do their part for the environment in the world. And you just look at the oceans, for example, and the trash that gets dumped in the oceans from some of these other countries because they're not regulating the way they should. So, maybe the approach is to just get with our allies and say, look, we got to make these countries that are doing things so cheaply because they're not paying living wages and they're not living up to our standards. We got to start making them do that, or we just hit them with large tariffs where they can't sell their products.
Yeah, on its surface, that I completely agree with you. I just think I would be concerned about getting them to actually do it. Right. You're right. You're right. It should be everybody is in a good, safe working environment where they are well compensated and they don't have to work 21-hour days. But getting other countries to go along with that, I think, would be really tough.
But I think the line in the sand that the president is drawing with tariffs is just that, right? So he's starting with tariffs and saying, look, your tariff policy is not fair for us. So we're going to hit you with what you hit us with. So then, if they start complying with those types of demands, then, you come back to them and you say the same thing. Well, if you're not going to hold if you're not going to provide your workers with safe working environments that are just the bare necessities that people should have, then we're going to hold you accountable for that, and we'll put a tariff on your properties again, or on your production again, until you comply with that. I mean, I think he's on the right track. We have to get everybody on the same playing field, and have to be held to the same environmental standards and fair labor practices. And you hear all the stories of these foreign countries that have children working in these factories, and the mines in other countries where they don't have safe air to breathe while they're in these mines. You hear all these things. We should be doing better as the leader of the free world and enforcing these basic rights for people throughout the world.
I agree with you. One thing we can all do is stop using smartphones, because every single one of these is made in a bad environment, which we're not going to give them up because we're Americans. All right, Mike Parkinson, we'll continue to check in with you on this. Thank you for giving us time today and keeping us updated as to where we stand now.
Always a pleasure, Chris and Amy. Thank you.
Mike Parkinson, the mayor of Granite City, with us.
All right. And I obviously looking into steel and tariffs more than I ever have before. A little bit of a question. Why would Canadian steel be cheaper? Because I know Canada has strong unions. Canada would be, their working conditions would be more like unions in the US. Canada doesn't have child labor.
Amy,
I know.
Dude, don't ask these questions.
Because our number one importer, of steel, exporters to the U.S., I should say.
Okay,
is
I don't
Canada.
need you just raising more questions. And we have to go to break. I have to give away tickets.
We're the number one exporter to Canada.
Stop doing this. Pair of tickets to give away to see the Doobie Brothers September 4th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. That is your time right now. Do it. 314-955-1120. We need caller number 5. 314-955-1120. Good luck to you.
Charlie Brennan with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. What can people expect when they visit one of your doctors at the Audiology Center?
Expect a friendly greeting and a waiting room stocked full of refreshments. But more importantly, a patient should expect that they're treated on an individual basis. We are not retail, and we pride ourselves on our medical model. Each hearing aid is catered towards each patient's unique needs. Expect a full history intake where we get to know you and your personal needs, and then we'll complete a full battery of tests where we can adequately diagnose your hearing health. We want you to understand those results right away, so directly following your tests, we're going to go over everything extensively. Finally, at that time, we'll develop a customized treatment plan built around you as an individual.
The Audiology Center, 3 locations in the St. Louis area, 636-441-7470, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Get dressed for the 10th anniversary of Jet Men's Fashion Week, February 16th at Energizer Park. It's a great event, raising awareness for men's prostate cancer through men's fashion. Redefine menswear with designers like Terry Singh, Holly Gibson, Julius Evans, Shop Ambition, and more, while supporting this great cause. Together, we can make a difference. Get more information about Gent Men's Fashion Week at kingmox.com/events.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-485-7220. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-485-7220 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-485-7220 to see if you qualify. That's 800-485-7220.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
The Rockwood School District has openings and is looking for people who enjoy working with kids to drive buses, work in the school cafeteria, clean buildings, work as groundskeepers, work with kids in the before and after school program, and much more. Rockwood is a great place to work. Outstanding benefits, positive, caring work environment, competitive pay, working with kids, and really a fun working environment. You can find out more at rsdmo.org/jobs.
I'm Brad Young. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Congratulations, Kevin in St. Charles. How come when I say the name Kevin, I'm like, Kevin?
Kevin.
Way to go, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin in St. Charles won the tickets to see the Doobie Brothers.
The Doobs.
The Doobie and the Coral Reefer Band.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? The Coral Reefer Band. That is the Jimmy Buffett band. So that's going to be fun. If you missed out today, we're going to do it again tomorrow and Friday. So don't freak out. You still have opportunities to win. Always chances to win something on this show. Amy, did you figure out this Canadian steel thing?
Well, like you said, if they are not doing the entire process start to finish, maybe they're getting cheaper steel from somewhere and then they're just, polishing it up, putting a spit shine on it before they sell it to the U.S. But I mean, they do have plants as well. So no, the answer is no, I haven't completely figured it out. And what's also incredible is that we are, each of us, the United States and Canada, sending enormous amounts of steel back and forth to each other, which I feel like.
Yeah, it's in the car making process.
Yeah.
Something gets made, shipped overseas, sent back here, refitted again, and then sent back. It's like a whole thing.
I think we should do a Steel 101 class. Like, how many start to finish steel plants are there in the U.S., right? That's Granite City. They do the whole kit and caboodle there, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they're doing in Canada? And if that's our number one exported to the United States, why is it so much cheaper? Is it so much cheaper?
By the way, Mayor Parkinson from Granite City, who we just spoke to. So if you missed the interview, it'll be on the Odyssey app. Go back and listen to it. He referenced David Burritt, who is the CEO of U.S. Steel. He referenced him several times. I got the impression he wasn't a big fan. Burritt is from St. Louis.
Oh.
He grew up here, went to Bradley.
Oh, there you go.
And also University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. But Bradley was our rival college.
Yeah.
Illinois State. I don't know about this David Burritt guy.
You're going to watch the Mizzou game tonight. Mizzou is taking on Oklahoma in Columbia.
That's a big one.
It's a really big one. Mizzou had a couple tough losses. They've dropped down to 21.
Still in the top 25.
They're still in the top 25.
But again, they have, I think, unless they just completely fall apart here in the last few weeks, they have probably the resume to get in, even if they don't win the conference tournament. So I think they're a tournament team. They beat two top 5 teams this year.
Next month.
That's Amy Marks Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. As I said, anything you missed is on the Odyssey app. You have got to go back and get it. Listen, because we are so good, right, Amy?
It's unbelievable.
We're going to be back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Major Garrett, among other things, will be on the show. We love you very much. See you at 10. Amy Marks Scores, Chris Ranji on KMOX. Here comes the Dave Glover Show.